welcome back to another episode of the Block Update podcast. It is episode 78. Excuse me while I just choke on my my water. How do I do the introductions? I've forgotten already. Oh yes, as always, I'm joined by Slack Lizard, affectionately known by his mother as Jonathan. And I'm Foxy No Tail, affectionately known by my mother as Get Out of My Sight!
Wow, get that one off to them.
Yes, a lot. I was quite a naughty child. It took me till my sort of early teens to become human, I think. I was evil. I was an evil baby. I was a horrible child. And then just all of a sudden, I hit like 11 or 12, and I just went, I'm nice now.
I'm so confused. Get out of my sight. Weren't you banished from the house as soon as like the sun came up and the parents' feet hit the floor? Because I was.
Well,
I was banished from the house, and I didn't come back home till the streetlights came on.
Yeah, the problem was me and my mum spent an awful lot of time together because she was my teacher, and we lived a long way away from school. So I would be in the car with her for like 45 minutes in the morning on the way to school. Then in a lot of her lessons, depending on what year I was in, it was only a few years that I was like in her class. And then all the way back again. And then sort of, that was a bit, when I was, maybe I was around that age then when I started to chill out a bit more. But before that, obviously, you know, I don't know. I was just apparently naughty. So.
Good talk, Foxy. Good talk.
Yeah. Right, before we start the show, as usual, I'd like to thank 50 patrons.
50?
Yeah, man.
Goodness.
50. This is amazing. As you all know, the Block Update podcast is now supported by Patreon. If you enjoy the show, then you can help support us, just like our top tier Minecraft 2.0 patrons, which according to Patreon are still Lactating Monk, Stitch Fix, and the Praetor. If you want to help support the show, then you can do for as little as $1 per podcast by going to patreon.com/the Block Update. The prices are per podcast, and the minimum perks you will get are access to our Patreon-only feed for bonus content when we record it, access to our Patreon-only Discord channels, and a shiny Discord role. And this week, we recorded a bonus show talking about Slack making room in his house for when baby and lady friend get over to the USA, Slack making shorts, me watching some TV and doing a setup tour. And it was wonderful, wasn't it, Slack? What a good bonus show. Definitely worth listening to.
Yeah, also talked about holy socks.
Holy socks. Yeah, my hot socks are so holy, they've got halo sack.
That's a joke just about as bad as Jade saying she's got a halo. But if you look at her emotes, it's actually horns holding up the... Wait, anyways. Yeah, good talk.
Right, okay. As usual, we like to jump straight into the feedback, find out what everybody thinks about our show this week. And last week, we was a little bit mean to you all, saying, oh, you know, we don't want books and things like that. And I thought because of that, we'd have a big sort of deficit of feedback this week. But we haven't. People have actually listened to us, Slack. We haven't got ridiculously long feedback. And we've got plenty of it, which is lovely. Just what we wanted.
I see one out there, and I'm not surprised who it's from. I mean, but, you know. But that's fine.
But you have to remember that not everybody is writing from the week that we've just recorded. Some people are, haven't listened to last week's yet, and will be sending in feedback based on the one they've last listened to. So it could be
that's fair.
The mic hasn't. Well, considering his feedback is like from about 3 podcasts ago, I would assume that's the case. Or he's just, totally ignoring us and just doing it anyway. But I don't think we should punish him. Anyway, we're going to start with Whitebush, who says, important IRL feedback. You haven't heard of root beer, Foxy? I understand the UK is different, but I never imagined root beer was that American. Life tip. First, try root beer. Next, put 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream in a large glass, then fill the glass with root beer, a.k.a. root beer float. Yes, you can thank me now. I've definitely heard of it. It's been in loads of movies and things like that, but I just never seen it. So, good news, peeps. Before the show today, I took myself off to the shop to see if I could find any. And I had to ask a person because I couldn't find any. And hidden away on the tiniest shelf in the tiniest corner of the supermarket, I found some root beer. Come on, camera. Focus on the root beer there.
What brand? What brand?
Bundaberg. And it's apparently Australian root beer. And I'm going to try it live on the podcast.
But is it cold?
Yeah, I put it in the fridge as soon as I got back. In fact, I put it in the freezer to cool it when I got back. It's not quite as cool as it should be, but it is cool enough.
Not all root beers are created equally, but okay.
Well, it's the only one they sell, so you would imagine it's the best one they've got. Science Slack, it must be. Is it supposed to be the same colour as cola?
Yes.
Okay. What's it taste like? Mouthwash. It tastes like the stuff that you get at the dentist when you're having your teeth cleaned.
Then you definitely got some bad root beer.
It's almost dandelion and burdock. It's not awful, but it does taste like antiseptic mouthwash.
Oh, you compared it to dandelions and dirt.
It tastes almost identical to dandelion and burdock.
No, there's no dandelion. No, that's some bad root beer. Then I'm sorry. That's
the only one I got. Sorry, guys.
Right.
Well, I'm going to sit and sip that throughout this podcast. Hopefully, I won't get too drunk on the lack of alcohol that's in it. Why call it beer? It's got no alcohol. Hey.
I need your address. I'm gonna have to get you some Uber Eats, delivered to your house with some proper root beer because that just doesn't work.
It's just like drinking at the dentist. Lovely.
Look, even in live chat, Jade's like, "We got to get you sent some real root beer because that's no."
Okay, right. Thank you very much for that feedback, Whitebush. Who's next, Slack? Jeez.
Panda is up next and says, genuine feedback incoming. I legitimately fell asleep during the last night's podcast. Perhaps you could begin it earlier. No. You know how long it took us to actually become consistent with a schedule at this? No.
Why do we do it at the time we do it, Slack?
Because Wednesdays are a day that there's not much going on for me and you. It's decent time in the afternoon for me. It's nighttime for you, so you don't have family around. It's about the only time that works for the podcast. I can't do them Thursdays. You can't do them Mondays. One of us can't do them on Tuesdays. No, this is legitimately about the only time we can record the podcast.
It's a time that fits our multinational listener base. Don't forget, we've got Americans and UK as predominant listener base. And this time of day, they're both up, generally speaking. Not everybody, but it's a good time of day for that. If we did it any earlier, then, well, it would just interfere with everything and not as many people could listen. And also, don't forget, this is a podcast that's available on YouTube and all of your apps whenever you want to listen to it. You don't have to listen to it live. We love that you do, but if it's not a suitable time for you, then just listen to it a bit later.
Go to bed. Just saying. Yeah, get some sleep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are you doing with your life? Jeez. Okay, Lorenzo. Hi, John Ollie Jackson and Jonathan. Love the show. Could use a third person as a tiebreaker, anti-no machine, now that Jenny has left. Also, if you could put the number of the podcast at the end of the title while keeping the rest the same, that would be great. No, Lorenzo, I put it at the beginning of the podcast as per last week. So, who do you think you are? Tell me what to do.
Yeah, you don't get to tell us what to do. No, it's our podcast.
So nice.
Moving on. Zinman16's up next and says, hey, Foxy, I would be happy with a llama caravan for moving villagers around. It would certainly give a good reason to go and get some llamas.
Yeah, right. I totally agree. Yeah, from that wish list thing we did. Do you know what? I was thinking about this. I think they said they're not going to do the same thing with camels to make the llama more unique, but camels they're in a caravan. Whenever you see them like on TV or films in the desert, they're in a caravan. They would be the perfect thing as well. So do it with both, llamas and camels. Jeez.
Yep, sounds good. I approve, even though it's not feedback. Yep. Or wish list, but yeah.
Zenman's back again saying, hey, Foxy and Slack, regarding blaze spawners and light levels, surrounding your blaze spawner with light blocks definitely is a thing. Just did this very thing to redesign my blaze farm to use the minecart activated rail conveyor mechanic I recently saw on one of your world tours. It didn't used to be. And
why have I suddenly gotten like way larger?
Yeah, and you've got a white line above you now for some reason. Whatever is happening? What?
What'd you break?
I hadn't touched anything. It wasn't me, Slack. How? Oh, it's gone now.
Huh? What'd you do?
I didn't. Oh. Anyway. Next feedback.
Victim is up next and says, enjoy the podcast as always. I don't usually watch, just listen. But I noticed your facial hair. It's your best look yet.
Thank you.
See, I told you it'd fill out.
You know what? That's absolutely lovely to hear, because it's always one of those things you don't really know. Sometimes it's a bit wily and it's a bit stringy and stuff like that. But I think although I need to redo it, shave under this bit, it feels a lot better and it looks a lot better. So, yeah, thank
Dogs,
you. Dogs,
please stop barking.
Purple Hoser, who's not barking, says, "Hey, Foxy and Slack. Today I was listening to the first ever episode of the podcast and was like, that does not sound right at all. Then I realised it was actually Foxy just a few years ago without as many voice enhancers. I love what you guys are doing here, Purple. I don't think it was it was definitely different plugins. I don't like the term voice enhancers. I'm not really using voice enhancers. I'm just using my knowledge of audio and my experience over a long period of time to make it sound better. And the other big difference is microphone. Massive difference. Just having totally different microphone.
I didn't mute just so I could. No, that was me yelling. Everything's fine.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, thank you very much for saying we sound better than we did. That's I'm always trying to improve it, always fiddling with it. But yeah, thank you.
Me as John with podcast good. Thanks, guys. Podcast good. Catchphrase.
Thanks, catchphrase. Thanks, me as John. Tiny Raccoon says, "I disagree that the Wandering Trader is useless." Well, get out then, as you clearly don't know what he's talking about. This is a single-player world. In single-player worlds, the trader selling items such as cactus, drip leaf, and moss is really handy, so you don't have to do exploring. Oh wait, Mojang want you to explore. Okay, I'm fine with it. Yeah, no.
He doesn't exist. We got rid of him last week.
Yeah, I'm sure at some point in the whole time he's existed, someone's gone, "Oh, I ain't got one of them. That'll be useful." But realistically, it doesn't serve a purpose. Sorry.
Scrublord's up next and says, "I know all the people were hating on the tax rant. Yep, they were. But I enjoyed it. What's wrong with you? I enjoy acquiring information about different topics. Thanks for doing the podcast. Well, maybe we could have a, tax bonus podcast just with Foxy one day, because I'm sure he could talk about it for hours."
No, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Finish talking about it. If I ever have to talk about tax again, Slack, it'll be too soon. Speaking of which, Purple Hoser says, "Hey, Foxy and Slack, I was looking at this week's podcast logo on Spotify and I noticed Slack's beard and hand is orange. Not sure why, lol. It's just because of... It just is. Like, okay. Jeez, how do I get into this? So Slack's sending me footage through, right? And it's, for whatever reason, a couple of weeks ago, it went a bit pale and washed out. So I'm doing some janky stuff in OBS to try and saturate it and bring it up. But because that color information is technically missing, it's enhancing things it shouldn't. So like Slack's neck, for instance, at the moment looks a bit orange. His beard looks a bit orange. The top of his hairline looks a bit orange. I can't really fix that.
We're trying alternatives. We just haven't found one that works yet.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't actually have an orange hand or beard. It's just the...
I could dye my beard orange.
You could do that, yeah. It's just the rubbish filters that it's having to go through in order to look better than it was. Jeez.
Right. Guyver's up next and says, "Foxy and Slack, the request for shorter feedback is totally understandable. Thank you both for all your hard work and great content." See, that's proper feedback.
Yeah, it is. I tell you what, this root beer is growing on me, Slack. It is growing on me. It's not as awful as it was the first taste.
I'm telling you, the colder it is, the better. You want it almost ice crystalled.
Yeah, so you can't taste the flavor.
No. Drop some vanilla ice cream in there. Oh my God, I didn't try root beer float with your own ice cream.
Oh man. Okay,
I gotta come back.
Which ice cream was it? Was it Cornish ice cream? Cornish ice cream is the best.
Every ice cream I had over there is real ice cream, which was better than anything over here unless it's homemade.
Okay, fair enough. The Mike says, write-offs. It's a tax feedback, Slack. "I know I'm late to the party. I had a very long drive this weekend and plenty of time to listen to the podcast. Please excuse me while I reopen an old wound. I deal with a non-profit organisation that has aircraft. We store them in hangars at airports. Many of the hangars are quite large and hold many, many aeroplanes. The private company who owns the hangar has determined that the space for a small Cessna airplane is $2,500 for the year for them to make profit. That covers the building, insurance, utilities, people, and leaves some for the company at the end of the day. What we like to do is say, okay, the space is worth $2,500, but if you donate the space to my organisation, we'll sign a paper that says you donated the space to us. So when they're doing the taxes, the government sees that they earned $500,000 for the year, and they say, yeah, all right, you owe us $25,000 in taxes for the $500,000 you earned. The company says, yes, but I donated $2,500, so my earnings are now slightly below $500,000. And the government says, that's a different tax bracket. You owe us $20,000 instead. So the company gave away space in a hangar that they could have earned $2,500 on and ended up saving $5,000 on the taxes due to being generous and donating that space and taking a write-off. Okay. You ready? So that does sound like free money, but you're donating space in a hangar, right? You're not donating it. Somebody's paid $2,500 for it, effectively, but you don't have that space anymore. So you have space, and then you don't have space because you've donated it. So yes, you're paying $2,500 less tax for only the cost of $2,500, which is probably kind of wrong. And I guess if that got looked into, it would probably be like, that's not really okay because you're kind of scamming the system by donating space. But there's always ways around everything, isn't there? I'm sure, once you close one loophole, you'll open another one. So,
good talk.
It is.
Yep. Good talk. Meerkat. Mm-hmm. Re-swamp and jungle villagers. I am sure you can get zombie villagers for these already, so you don't have to move them. Well, I'm sure you can, but typically it's depending on where you find them.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to be using things like chunk base to find zombie spawners inside of swamps or jungles. And when that doesn't happen, I guess maybe waiting for nighttime to hope that a zombie villager might spawn would be better than... It depends how far your swamp and your jungle is away. If you've got a jungle relatively near to somewhere where there's a village, then you don't have to worry about it. But if it's miles away and transporting that village is going to take hours and hours and hours, it might just be worth hanging about and seeing if one spawns.
Yeah, well, if they do the parody with the spawners and they remove zombie villagers from spawners, then you're either going to have to wait at night or bring something from elsewhere.
Yeah. I mean, you could always set up like a little miniature mob farm and just, let it gather mobs, kill them off, gather more, kill them off until you get a zombie villager. So there are ways around it for sure, but whatever way you go about it, it's still going to require time.
Yep.
Okay. MC Lucky says, guys, regarding the changes from Mojang, the issue is related to what is endgame. If you look at Truly Bedrock, the dragon fight occurs in the first week of the server, and Season 5 has been going on for months, which means the endgame is not the dragon fight, but the building you do after that point. So trying to balance for endgame is skewed if they want to continue to see the end as the dragon fight. I don't think Mojang see the dragon fight as the end of the game, otherwise there wouldn't be Elytra, beyond that. And Sugar Boxes beyond that. And Netherite's harder to get.
Okay, thank you. But true, at that same point, though, what happens after you beat the dragon and you go through the portal? You get the end credits.
Yeah, but that's like tradition. That's not, you've finished the game. That's just tradition. And that's like, It doesn't mean, end game doesn't mean the end of the game. End game is a phrase these days that means something completely different. It means when you're at the stage of the game where you've got all of the good stuff, it doesn't matter what game you're playing, the end game, it can be you can be at end game really early on. And the thing with Minecraft, other than defeating the dragon, there's no completing the game. There's no it's finished. There's no that's it, hard close, it's done. End game is when you feel you've got all of the stuff that you need to your disposal and you're, comfortable with your armor and your tools and things. Nothing to do with the dragon fight, in my opinion.
No, I just want my in-game gear. The game doesn't... Well, you say in-game. The game doesn't begin until I have wings and shulkers.
Yeah.
Up until that point, it's I'm in pre-game. The game begins when I get those, not ends, Irish Viking is up next and says, great podcast again. A quick thought about not being able to craft recipes that haven't been unlocked that you were discussing. Aren't there recipes that don't unlock until you perform a certain action, i.e. jump in water for unlocking a boat, even if you have the ingredients?
Is that a thing?
Not that I've heard of.
If that's a thing, fine. I don't think that's a thing. Why would it make any difference whether you're in, if you're making a boat, the idea is you're not going in water, jumping in the water, it's to go over the water. It doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's the thing, Irish Viking. If it is, please let us know. And ideally, a bit of evidence would be nice. But I don't think that's the thing. I think that you're thinking of achievements, not recipes.
Yeah. Maybe.
Brood says, hi, Foxy and Slack. In response to your comments about my wish list item from the last podcast, you asked how it's not clear how to tell if an item is going to become too expensive. What I was getting at was there is nothing in the game that tells you that 40 levels is the max. This means that if I'm combining books to be able to enchant my helmet, I have no way of knowing if it's going to be too expensive until it's too late and have wasted all the levels on the books. I do like the idea of getting rid of the limit, which would get rid of the problem. If you've done it enough time, because it never goes over 40. And that adding more stuff to it means it's going to be more levels. So if you've got to level 35 on an anvil and you're going to add another book, it's going to be too expensive. Because
you're never putting that on. You're never putting that on your armor.
Yeah, the only thing you're doing at that point is renaming the item 5 more times, and that's about it.
Yeah, and then additionally, on top of that, you're not putting that on an item that's already got run through the enchantment table. Probably no.
Yeah,
the only item you're putting that on is you're talking about for your helmet is a helmet you find from the inn, which those are actually really dirty to enchant up because it only costs 1 level.
Well, yeah, because they're pre-enchanted. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense. And I think that this change is going to make end loot a lot more valuable if they don't fix the anvil problem.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But we still can't get axes in the end, which is annoying.
No.
Essifer's up next and says, I think the new can't craft recipe, if it hasn't been unlocked option feature, is a marketplace idea. You might create a world wherein you're giving the player access to iron, but haven't taught them how to make armor yet.
That would be a lovely piece. Yeah, no, it doesn't exist like that. Unfortunately, on Recipe Unlocking on Bedrock Edition at the moment is totally limited to Mojang's control. There's no command to unlock this recipe or lock that one. So that would be great. That would be lovely to be able to do that with the marketplace stuff or with add-ons, but it's just not possible. So unfortunately.
Yeah, this is just a parody feature we're getting. It's not marketplace related.
No.
Sadly.
Is it me?
Yes, it's you.
Sorry, I was just too busy finishing off this root beer. Oh, it's lovely.
I noticed you killed the whole thing.
Oh, I got a dribble left, Slack. That's all I got. It's wonderful stuff. I wish I'd heard of this years. It's just like dandelion and burdock, but slightly nicer. Machan says, hi, Foxy and Slack. I just wanted to say that I'm loving the Mythbusting series. For players that love the tech side of the game mechanics, seeing you guys test each myth gives me a deeper understanding of why some people build things in a very specific way or what things I can exclude from my build and save time and materials. Anyway, you're both awesome and thank you for all you do. You're welcome. Thank you for watching.
I love that experience or number thing. It's great, by the way.
Mine's not been...
Well, I'm just saying, I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we learned a lot this week, didn't we? Every single one we did this week was like, what?
Yeah, there was a whole lot of what. Yeah, they're really good. I'm liking them. Even though they're taking hours to record, they're still good.
Yeah, and edit. You don't have to worry about that. But for me, today, that's what I did today. All day, I've been editing those, and then it was normally I'll do my work on Wednesday morning, and when it gets to about 2:00, I'll go, right, I've got a few hours to kill now before the podcast, so I'll take some time off. I'll have my evening break in the afternoon, but today, nope. All day. Thanks.
Busy.
Okay.
Let's see. Who's next? Warga?
Yep.
Hope my last book makes it. Almost frozen A&W root beer. Second best thing ever. The first being this podcast.
And then
brown nosing?
It says image. I've seen this a couple of times now. I'm not complaining about feedback again, but if you put a reference to an image or a video in your feedback question, wish list, or bug date, it's totally useless to us. We can't do anything with it. A bug link we can use because I can link to it and I can show it. If you just put in a GIF or an image or a video or post it, and we've had a few, in the past, that someone's like, oh, this YouTuber made this in feedback. I'm like, it's just a link to a YouTube video. What am I supposed to do with that? So Wire Guy, I know that the feedback's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. But it just says image in our docs. That's all it says. There's no picture. Plod. One quick comment on the last episode. You missed the idea of needing phantom membranes in peaceful mode because you can't get Elytra in peaceful, but you forgot that phantom membranes are also a potion ingredient. That said, I've no idea where you get blaze powder from for making potions in peaceful mode. I'm going to follow this up with a question in the question section. Yeah, so basically you shot yourself in the foot there, Plod, haven't you? Yeah.
Good job.
Well done. Good job.
Good job. Amanchu is up next. It says 2 things about librarians. AFK fishing does not give enchanted books in Java, so that isn't an alternative for mending books. When did they take that away? I'm stopping on the feedback right here, but for a moment on this one. AFK fishing does not give enchanted books in Java anymore.
What? No way. It must do.
Yeah. I know they changed the mechanics on fishing where you have to fish in like deeper water now to get stuff, but I know that there's no way that they took enchanted books away from AFK fishing.
No.
Not completely.
No, it'll just be when you're doing it in one block of water. There'll be like the things to get around people doing AFK fishing, like in a little machine. Because they used to do it up in the sky, didn't they? In order to like improve the rates and things like that. So it'll just be, they'll just be changes.
All right. Additionally, from Amanchu says, also, I recently played Bedrock Flat World and hope to do it again. It is very challenging to get villagers in a flat world, but it is possible. However, they will always be plains villagers. The new librarians are very bad for flat worlds and possibly skyblock, especially when in Bedrock you can't use F3 to find what biome you are in.
Yeah,
I would agree with you in that, but there's, other things that you can't get in flat worlds that's not related to just villagers, so...
No, flat worlds on Bedrock are useless. And Skyblock, unfortunately, on Bedrock Edition, if you do a void world, then I think every single biome in the world becomes ocean, which means you can't get any passive animals spawning. So,
it's...
So you have
unless
to do,
you load the world and delete all the chunk data,
or you can... There are things... Yeah, I mean, you can... obviously change spawn rules and things like that with add-ons and things, which is what they'll probably do for Skyblock maps. But yeah, just Bedrock's not designed for things like that at the ground level, which is such a shame because they're like really popular things to be able to do.
Yeah.
Greybeard says, I truly enjoy this podcast and my enjoyment goes way beyond the Minecraft discussion. For example, your explanation about each of us having our own opinions was a terrific life lesson. I think a lot of people could benefit from trying to understand others instead of trying to change them. I think even more people could benefit from listening to the podcast. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you, Greybeard. Amazing. Lovely feedback.
Thank you very much. Zodifil? Is that how you say that one?
I would say file, but yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned in the last podcast that Jesus, let me start that all over again. You mentioned in the last podcast that there was a fix specifically for the player's saturation. I was really happy to hear that because I kept getting an error that would give me a blue screen and then kick me to the PlayStation home screen where I would have to load up Minecraft again. I couldn't figure out why this would happen, so I couldn't report it. It didn't seem to related to what I was doing in the game. Thanks for mentioning stuff like this on the podcast.
Yeah, I think you.
Oh, yeah. I said saturation.
Yeah.
Good talk.
Yeah. So apparently that top fix for PlayStation has actually helped Zonifile. So that's brilliant. That's good news.
Good deal.
Right, the last piece of feedback is from Mike saying, I don't get it. Minecraft is making diamonds more prevalent, but months after encourages players to explore. I've explored approximately 10,000 blocks in all dimensions to find trims, camels, shards, etc. So where are these new diamonds when my mine is at spawn and it took hours to decorate? I agree with the previous Foxy and Slack comments. Don't change world gen randomly. This change just decreases the value of my world, and this change was called out months before 1.20 was released. How do you create a long-time world without chunk trimming? Where it's available on your platform? I think you've got to change your mindset for a long-term world rather than just being like, okay, this is spawn and this is where everything's going to be. You've got to be prepared for those changes and being like, okay, this is where I'm going to live for now, but I'm not going to explore over there because when they change it, I can go in that direction. And then when they change it again, I can go in that direction. You just got to change how you play a bit, I guess, which is difficult to do if you're on multiplayer, because how do you tell everyone don't fly in that direction?
Well, aside from putting up a world border, it's going to be almost impossible because it's just a trust-based system. Yep.
Definitely. Right. That's it for feedback. If you want to leave us feedback, then you can do by emailing us at news@theblockupdate.com, filling out the feedback form on our website, which is theblockupdate.com, or joining our Discord, which is where everybody hangs out. It's a good place to be. You should all do it, definitely, 100%. And then you can watch the live show every week and then complain that it's past your bedtime as well. Links for all of those things are in the description below. Whew. Right, it's news time.
Hold on. Did you see somebody just shut down somebody in the live show discussion?
No.
Cats retrieve phantom membranes overnight and peaceful.
Do they? Got them. Okay. Catchphrase. We have no actual Minecraft news. There was a tweet from Slice Lime saying, quick no Wednesday snapshot this week. We're currently hoping to get one out Thursday, so that will be coming out after we've recorded this podcast. Don't forget, peeps, that we are recording these podcasts on a Wednesday, even though they come out on a Friday. So no snapshot, and there's no Bedrock one either, which is a bit odd.
You know what we could do though? When we get together Friday, we could record, because you're going to be out of town next week, a little bonus show over that. Just saying, to go out the next week.
I don't know if I'll have time to edit it and get it sorted out, but we can try.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, we don't have to do a full-blown
Friday.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anyway, the other piece of news is Minecraft Legends is live and kicking. It's had a major update. Its first major title update. A new Lost Legend, it says here. And this does come with a whole wealth of improvements, which are going to be quite difficult for me to pick out of this incredibly long post I've done, but I have made some notes. They have made PvP communication improvements, and that's not talking to your friends in live chat. That is things like adding in world map markers and being able to tell your friends what type of structure you're building and, you know, where you're going to be building it. They've added lobby roles for preferred play styles, which means that you can basically choose from being a builder, explorer, fighter, piglin, hunter, and flexible, so that people know who to team up with and what sort of thing you're going to be doing in game, which is nice. They've added a custom campaign and custom versus experimental modes, which sounds fantastic. So you can basically change the world, like the resources, the size, even the gravity of the world, to make it how you want it to be. So... you know, it'd be nice to have that on Bedrock Edition for Flat Worlds, but not go into that.
Yeah, and then, you know, like the whole world map markers. How does the new game get map markers before we even get them?
Right, I know, right? They've also introduced a new auto lure feature, which automatically makes the mobs that follow you once they're spawned, which would have been fantastic when I was doing that campaign, because it was so annoying with them just going everywhere and not being with you, so that's nice. They've added structure health bars. You can actually hit the enemy buildings with your sword now, not the portals or the something else as well that it won't work on. But yeah, most of the buildings you can, and the sword will actually do a whole bunch more damage to enemies, which is it actually makes that sword worthwhile having, other than just being like a toothpick you were swiping randomly and doing nothing with it.
You mean swiping with like sweeping edge?
I don't know if it's like that, but it does more damage. So, and you can actually knock down the build. So you're not 100% reliant on those useless mobs that have no pathfinding.
That's great.
They've increased the build, deconstruct together, and clear netherrack speeds in the campaign mode, which is nice. And they have where's that in my note? Added player objective and goals in the game's second act. I never got to that bit, so I can't comment on that. They've also added, they've shortened the game's prologue by almost half and made it more action-packed, apparently. So, yeah, I don't know if that's like the cutscenes at the beginning or just like the tutorial mode that you did, but they've massively nerfed that, which is good, because that went on way too long. And this bit's it's a bit of a sneaky way of putting it, but they've introduced pet animals feature, and you think, oh yeah, all those animals would be great to have them as pets. No, it's not to keep them as pets. It's just so you can pet them. So like if you see a badger or something in the world, you can pet it and it will do an animation. So total waste of time, but I guess everyone likes to pet the dog, don't they? They have improved matchmaking. pathfinding, the UI, the HUD, and all like a bunch of other stuff as well. And then there's this whole thing called the Lost Legends, the Crucible, which apparently is a whole new challenge that takes you 30 minutes, or you've got to complete it in under 30 minutes. I've no idea what it's all about. All of the information is here, and I will link to that in the description below. But yeah, big old update for Minecraft Legends. Nice to see that they are still working on it, but I don't know if it's a little bit too little too late, to be honest with you, Slack.
Yeah. I thought that game was completely dead.
It's certainly not going to draw me back in, but you never know. It might draw a few more people back in.
Is the game free?
It is on Game Pass. Okay, that's it for the news. Time to go into the bug date. You got any bugs this week, Slack?
No.
Okay, straight into community bugs then, starting with I Am Conbar, who says, behavior packs disable achievements. I don't know the behavior pack is changing how Minecraft works, but it'd be nice to be able to have it enabled and also have achievements. I don't know how that could be a bug report, because that's intentional behavior. The whole point of that, the reason that is because the achievement, we've been through this a million times. The achievements on Bedrock Edition are not the same as advancements on Java Edition. They're controlled by Microsoft, or Xbox, who are very precious about them. They don't want you cheating the system. And the behavior pack changes how the game works. It can give you free stuff. It can make the achievements much easier to get. So the point is, you're not allowed to have achievements on worlds that have behavior packs enabled because they don't want you cheating to get the achievements. It's not the same as advancements.
And the fact that I'm looking at that bug report that you have open there, and the fact that Megaspud responded to it, just really, this is a bug report site, not a feedback site or a suggestion site or a wish list site. It just, I don't get that.
I think they're just, they're automatically sent out ones just when they're trying to clean things up and, when they haven't had a response for a long time. I think the developers have looked at that and gone, moron, and and just ignored it. So it's been sat there a while. So, it's got an automatic thing. Jeez.
Right. Max John?
Yeah.
How do you say that one? With the bug report number there, it says beacons don't work under flowing lava. I created a one chunk base farming area and came across a weird bug. Beacons can pass non-solid blocks, so I would expect them to pass lava and water. But lava prevents beacons from working. It doesn't matter if it's a source block or flowing lava. When replacing lava with water, the beacon does work properly. Don't want to replace lava with campfire. Well, thank you. Well, I'll just slide that there. Campfires to kill golems, because it will take twice as long for them to die. It sounds like a weird bug.
What? Yeah, but why would you have lava on top of your beacon? I suppose if you put your beacon at the bottom of the world and there just happens to be a pocket of lava above it, maybe?
Well, I've done stuff like that before because it's a liquid. In the past, I've had like a pillar and then lava coming down the middle and a beacon beam coming through it. That sounds like something's been broken.
It does, doesn't it? It does. Have you just been handed your lunch there, Slack? You can't have your lunch while you're doing a podcast.
I know, so I'm just sitting here looking at breakfast right now. It's fine.
Oh, man. Oh, that would be so frustrating. I mean, we can pause for half an hour if you want while you finish that.
No.
Just shove it down. Good. Slack's going to be like hiding behind his screen, sneaking the sausages in like...
Excuse you, little dog. I think not. Yeah. Look at that. Look. No. Yeah. No.
You can't eat that, so I can eat it.
Nope, it'll just go all the way over here.
Oh, man. Yep. Okay, fair enough. All right, the next bug report is from MC Lucky, who says, I'm still experiencing Pocket Edition crashes on my iPad, even after installing hotfix 1.20.13, which was supposed to fix this issue. So I need 1.20.13.1 that actually works. I'm pretty sure 1.20.13, even though it was for iOS, it didn't say it fixed all crashes. You're never going to have a bug report that says it fixed all crashes. And the fact that they just don't tell us which one it fixed, you can't just assume that's going to be fixing the one that you're experiencing, unfortunately. So yeah, it sucks that there is a bug that's causing you problems. Maybe it will get fixed at some point in the future, but you should probably, if it's not been fixed, check out if there's a bug report for it. And if there isn't, write one and, get it sorted. Otherwise, you're just relying on someone else to do it for you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I have no
I
usernames
skipped
up
one?
next.
No, I haven't.
No.
I've got
Yeah.
another.
Yeah. Xeon. We missed
Yeah.
Xeon's there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can read Xeon's real quick.
Okay.
When standing on the edge of a chest, the game thinks you are falling and you begin to take fall damage. Yep, that's been here for a while now.
Yeah, we had that actually read out the other day with Rotated Hellface, who I think it might even be this one where they were standing on a double chest over a hole and taking random fall damage, which was quite interesting. So yeah, get that upvoted. Okay, the next one is from I Have No Username. Probably one of the most infuriating bugs I've had because it won't let you play two-player because of it without spending 10 to 20 minutes trying to get it to work. On console, when you try and add another player, nothing happens. I tried changing the battery, buying a new controller and battery, but nothing works. You can fix it by a very specific combination of switching what controller is player one, but it takes over 10 minutes to do, and it does not fix the issue the next time you play. Sorry if that was a long bug. That wasn't too bad. That's weird. That kind of
I experienced that in the past when I was playing on console, but it's been a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Gen 1044 is up next and says, so we're using Foxy's hardcore pack and someone died to a portal bug. And instead of dying and going into spectator mode, they were able to respawn. Any thoughts or ideas? Is this intentional or bug compounded by another bug?
It's probably... So the way the hardcore pack works, the only way it can detect you dying is basically there's a bit of code that says, is this player alive? And when they're not alive, then they're supposedly dead. But that not alive doesn't trigger very quickly. And if you've got instant respawn on or anything like that, it can get skipped over because you just go from being alive to being alive.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
With the portal bug, when you die inside a portal, it's transferring you from one place to another. So it could well be that you just skipped that is, not alive bit for some reason. It shouldn't. When you've got that respawn screen, when you're on that, that should be enough time for it to trigger. So I don't know. And although it does, no, I don't know. That's weird that. It shouldn't have done that. In the future, I'll be able to change that once the beta API system is a little bit more advanced and some of the stuff's a bit out of experimental. I'll be able to change it to use that because that one will actually detect player deaths. Whereas at the moment, the add-on I'm using just detects if the player is not alive, which kind of sounds like the same thing, but it's not. It's complicated. Okay. Xenon177 says, the Minecraft preview detects the wrong graphics card. I have a laptop with integrated graphics and an RTX 3050. In the top text, it shows the integrated graphics not being the dedicated GPU, therefore preventing me using RTX and deferred lighting. That's not a bug. That is in your settings. If you've got a dual graphics card system in your Windows settings, you will be able to choose which GPU you use for each 3D application. So you need to go into your applications settings bit, find Minecraft and the Minecraft preview and change it to whichever GPU it is. And then Minecraft will use the right one next time you load it up. So it's not Minecraft doing that, that's Windows.
Yeah, and laptops are notorious for doing that because they want to try to save power as much as possible.
Yeah.
So almost everything you install on there is system controlled. And if it thinks that it can use less power by using the integrated and run it just fine, it will versus using your 3050.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you got power saver mode on. Yep. Anyways, right.
That's it for the bug day. If you think you've found a bug, then you want to tell us about it, then go to news at the Minecraft. No. Email us at news@theblockupdate.com, fill out the feedback form or join the Discord and let us know. All the links for those are in the description below. Slack, do you want a minute? The tip of the week is from Downloadable Duck, and it says, if you're on low health and you have no food left, simply set your spawn at a bed and commit not living right near the bed. Then you'll respawn with a full health and full hunger, and you can keep all your stuff. Tip of the week for tip of the week, don't attempt this in hardcore mode. Yes. Yeah, works great unless you're playing in hardcore mode. Slack's life tip of the week is tell your parents that, can you please keep my breakfast warm until I finish the podcast?
Right, they know. They know. This has become a weekly thing. Twice they come in here.
That's
They know.
fine. It's fine. I'm just jealous because I really want that. I have had food today, but I'm really hungry. So
Even British sausages just.
well, while you munch on that and make awful noises that I'm not going to edit out of the podcast, do you want microphone? But I'm going to talk about my week in Minecraft, and then you can talk about yours. Okay. So this week in Minecraft, Slack and I did some more myth busting, and we first revisited our myth busting on signs because we got a lot of comments telling us that we didn't do a fair test. So one of the tests we did was signs with text on, which we only put 4 lines of text on, and then we did glow signs, but we only put 1 line of text on the glow signs. Me thinking it's just a data value, it won't make any difference. Turned out that signs with 4 lines of text on was way laggier, or not laggy for the world, but laggy for your frames per second than signs with just 1 line of text that was glowing. But when we redid the test with both of them having all 4 lines of text, the glow signs were indeed way worse. So yeah, we've got a big, we were wrong video going out this week on that one. We've also tested some entity lag as well. So basically you had the whole chicken cooker thing, loads of chickens on a block or loads of things on a block. Are they better, spread out if they're banging against each other in a small pen? If they're in a big pan, does that make any difference? And the results on that were very, very interesting. We did with villagers and armor stands as well. I'm not going to give the results away, but the chickens certainly were interesting. And then we did XP, because XP has changed dramatically since 2019, since 1.19. It used to just be all individual orbs. And now they combine together, and you can do some pretty interesting tricks in order to make your XP orbs never despawn, but just accumulate more and more and more and more, which technically means you can have like a lot of XP just on tap waiting for you, which is very interesting. So we did a whole bunch of testing on that as well. Aside from myth busting, I've only managed to do 1 stream this week because of my my video that wasn't Minecraft related, which was my setup tour. And in that live stream, I was working on my skyscraper area again, and I was building a tunnel through under some villagers' houses for my little road system, and everyone hated it. Everyone just despised it. It's like they said it was awful. It's the worst thing I've ever done.
Really? That's ruthless.
No, it wasn't. Berenzo wasn't very nice about it.
Well,
but I think he was only joking, so I let him off.
Don't let Brenzo off easy. No, don't do that.
No, it was fine. It was very simple. It was another one of my smooth stone with frog lights, and that's about it. Things. It really wasn't particularly well decorated or anything like that. But it's just supposed to be like a little tunnel for cars that don't exist in Minecraft to go under a hill. So it wasn't all that fancy. So I totally get it. It wasn't a particularly great tunnel, but the fact that they all decided to hurt my feelings, telling me how awful it was, and then when I told them to hurt my feelings, all of a sudden groveling, telling me it was wonderful, Slack. But I don't believe it anymore.
And they didn't make 1 clip.
No, not a single clip.
Wow.
Am I supposed to get rich off shorts if you guys won't clip things for me? That's free for you. Don't have to pay for that.
He's sitting here growling at me. I'm just saying that just for the reference.
With him.
He's sitting here legitimately growling at me. Wow. Go. No.
What have you been doing in Minecraft this week, Slack?
Aside from our myth-busting things, I hadn't touched Minecraft in pretty much 2 weeks now until today, which started off this morning with a 7-day stream on the second channel, which was okay. And then just, I don't know if I got the urge to play Minecraft or if I was tricked into playing Minecraft or whatever, but it still hasn't been a lot. Got on Slackville. We've been working on a concrete farm over there.
Oh, yeah.
And mainly today was just adding in a dye farm beside it and a sorter in for all the different types of concrete. Other than that, I'm not Minecrafted out, but I'm Minecrafted out on all the worlds I'm playing on, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I understand that feeling. Well, we've talked about it over a few weeks now, haven't we? That we both feel like we need something a bit new and fresh to get our teeth stuck into. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we got TB Stream Weekend coming up this weekend, and
Forgot about
I
that.
done made the decision. Huh?
Oops. Oh, man. I totally
What?
forgot about that. Okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
have to rearrange a couple of things on Saturday. Oops.
Yeah. And I've determined that this is going to be probably my last stream from TB till we reset.
Oh, really? We haven't even discussed resets in yet.
No, but I am so unhappy with my base and my build that I've done over there. And we're what, 7, 8, 9 months in on this season? And I know there was a couple times where we talked about, oh, just throw everything away and start over. I'm not starting over this late in the season. So for me, I'm more or less done with TB after this stream weekend until we reset.
Wow.
It's not that I don't like it. I'm burnt out on everything that I'm playing. I want something new. I want something new. And I know you all started the new, or well, they started. I didn't take part in it because it didn't interest me because it was on Java, the super flat world. But I'm just ready for new.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be stuck in the point where me and you have discussed this in great detail, where I don't want to have to spend a week to make a single episode. And that's where I'm at with TB and with my seasonal based Slackville world and everything. It's just, I can't do it. I just can't. Maybe I'll get back to the point where I can again, but right now, the thought that I'm going to have to sit down and grind for a week to put out one episode, it's just, no. I'd rather punch myself in the face.
I was semi-interested in joining the super flat thing. I thought it would be really good fun, but I didn't. You know, when that was done in a not a thread, but a forum thing, was it?
Yeah.
And I didn't get a notification for it. And apparently there was like loads of everyone posts and stuff in there in the Discord, in a members area, TB members area. Yeah. I just didn't know it was there. So I had no idea it started.
Well, I didn't even know that, there was a stream weekend coming up because I think it's in one of those threads too. And like somebody finally posted in a normal channel and I saw it. I don't like we're totally off topic here, but threads in Discord, I absolutely despise them.
You don't mean, threads, but there's also them forum post things, which I thought were a really good idea at the beginning, but they just don't work, do they?
No, they don't work. There's so many things I've missed inside of TB just because I don't go through every individual forum, because usually if somebody does a ping, you get the ping. But if they even do a ping inside of the forum or whatever, you don't.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't make sense. No, it was when they came out, I thought, that's a brilliant idea. What a great way to organize things in Discord, because everyone knows that if you've just got a normal channel, everything just gets lost in chat. So being able to split that up into those things, this is great. And then it just turns out that unless you specifically know it's there and go in and subscribe to it, then you never know it's there, and you're like, well, unless I'm going to go through clicking on every single channel to see every single forum post. Nah. I think it should automatically subscribe you to any new ones, and then you just unsubscribe if you don't want to be part of it.
Well, I've even subscribed to them, but unless you're the creator, you don't get notified.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so...
Yeah. So, like, if you created it, and you'll get notifications about it, but, like, even if you're just a normal user and you follow it, you don't get notifications. It's very annoying. I don't like those. But no. For Minecraft, for me, it's not been a whole lot. I'm waiting, I guess is the best way to put it. So
yeah, it feels a bit of an odd time in Minecraft, and I don't think this is necessarily TB related. I mean, we have been doing TB for 5 years now. I know it can't have been 5 years. It must be getting on for that. Did it start 2018 or 19? I can't remember. But yeah, we'd be getting on for that. I mean, this is technically our 6th season if you count Season 0, but Season 0 was very short. So was Season 3. So, anyway, regardless, it's been a long time, but I don't think that's necessarily the issue. I think the issue is there's two issues at play here. One is, realistically speaking, as we've talked about a lot, Minecraft really hasn't done a great deal in the last couple of years to have anything that really draws us to the game. It has some people on TB. Some people really like the archaeology stuff and the cherry stuff, and they've got a lot more excitement and stuff for that. But for me, it hasn't done anything to bring me in to back into it. And the other thing is, as it's, fairly well known now, unless you're an absolute tank of an SMP and like a huge content creators, SMPs are just not performing on YouTube anymore. And it is, when you live your life looking for analytics and trying to see how well your video does, and every single one you put out is doing a lot worse than they were doing a year ago or 2 years ago. And I know we got this ridiculous boost through COVID, which even if you take that out of the equation, they're still getting worse and worse and worse. So you're like, these videos are hard work to make. They're getting harder work to make because there's more pressure. But it doesn't matter what I do to them. I can't reach people. They're not getting recommended. I'm not getting to new subscribers, So...
And as far as video games go, Minecraft is probably the most saturated game out there on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, and people are seeing a lot of success of these like 100 days videos, modded videos. And I think so that just shows that it's not just us that have a little bit of lethargy towards like Minecraft SMPs at the moment. The audience does as well. And I think vanilla Minecraft's just gone a little bit stale. I don't really want to be the person to admit that because that's my job and that's what everything relies on, but it has.
It has.
So, I mean, we've got all of these incredible things going on in the scenes, all this parody stuff, all of this technical stuff, loads of amazing stuff going on there, but the vanilla game is just meh at the moment. I need something. I need them to stop taking things away and give us more. And I know that's a short-term thing, and you could almost argue, well, maybe it's because they keep giving you more, and if the game's getting easier, that's the reason why you're not enjoying it as much. And that could be well true, because we all know you got a survival world and you decide to go in creative just for a second because you died and you get your stuff back, then a lot of people like me and Slack think that's it. That's world's tainted now. I can't play in it anymore because I've cheated.
Yeah, I've cheated. It's dead.
And there is some argument there to say, well, if you're putting all that time and effort in because you're grinding more, then you're going to appreciate the world more and you're going to be more likely to sit in there and play it. Yeah. So maybe that is an argument to have, that the changes they're making to make things more difficult is going to help people have more interest in the game. But I think they need to do that alongside bringing in something big that's going to... we need another wow moment. We really need another wow moment. How many years has it been since we had a wow moment?
Nether update.
The Nether update. The Warden would have been if they'd have done it on time. But it just got boring before it even got released.
Even I wouldn't even count, because I know some people are going to be like, oh, when they added the under levels, the caves and cliffs. No. The last WoW update that really changed the game for me was the Nether update, because they completely overhauled it.
Yeah.
You just changing a little bit with the overworld doesn't do nothing for me.
No.
Doesn't do nothing for me.
That said, though... go on, carry on.
Give us a new dimension. Give us a overhaul in the end. Do something. Because at this rate, you're losing people.
Yeah, I was going to just say about the Nether. That said, as much as it was a wow moment with all the piglins and stuff like that, there is a lot more to do there now. I used to enjoy going to the Nether a lot more than I do because it's just so difficult to navigate now because there's walls everywhere.
I would agree on that.
I wish they'd have added it all in, but didn't make it quite so wally. If it was like, you remember how the old Nether, it did have mountains and things, but it was relatively flat. It did have huge lava lakes. There was obstacles. It was difficult to get around. It wasn't easy. But, if you are endgame and you have Elytra, you should be able to fly through the Nether without too much of a problem, but you just can't. And I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy being stuck. And striders aren't a helpful thing because the lava lakes, there are big lava lakes, but they're all cut off by masses of land. So, you can't even have that argument, well, just use a strider. It's just difficult. And I know it's supposed to be a difficult environment, but it's not enjoyable difficult, in my opinion. I do enjoy... Oh, go on.
You know what was my most favorite season of TB?
Go on.
Season 3.
Well, the one where we made all the changes.
Yep. It was still vanilla Minecraft, but we changed the biomes, the generation, and it felt fresh. It felt new. It felt different. It was still survival Minecraft, but it felt so good. I missed that world. If you had to ask me what was my favorite world that I played on TB, that's it. Yeah, the Witch Hut was okay, but it was just a vanilla world. It was plain Jane. It was ordinary. The Netherrack Mountain, yeah, it was fun. Season 4, I lost interest in my base when I got sick, and I spent time in the hospital. This season, it's just another vanilla world. I'm fine with all the vanilla mechanics. I just want to see a different world. That's what I loved about here. What was it? A few weeks ago, I tried playing modded, and the first thing that drew me in that I absolutely loved was the different terrain, the different trees, the different things. But all the mechanics were not vanilla, and I didn't like it. I lost it.
Yeah.
I lost it real quick. Yep.
Slack. Maybe. They've been pretty quiet so far on what's coming in 121. No one has got a clue. I honestly think this year it's a go big or go home moment. I think this year is going to define the future of Minecraft. I think if they don't go big, if they go another safe small one, I think we'll start seeing rapidly declining numbers, which is, I don't want that to happen. I want Minecraft to live forever, and I want to enjoy it forever.
Yeah, I want to enjoy it forever too. So, if they don't give us something big here soon, Foxy, we're gonna have to make it. I'm just saying. Custom
make my own end update. Yeah,
custom biomes, custom generations, and stuff like that. That's where it's
if only it worked.
Well, if we have to, make structures and clone them in and create the world, whatever, we'll do it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
We'll do it. We got this. Okay, right. So that is it for our week in Minecraft. It's time to find out what everybody's dying to be involved in this great addition to the game. And I haven't ordered these at all, so it could be all over the place. This one, do you want to start, Slack?
Oh, the wish list.
Yeah.
We got Jason up first and says, give Alays a backpack so they can carry stuff for you. Imagine how cute that would be. Just give us a backpack. Stuff. Just give us a backpack.
You can retexture them if you want, Jason. We don't need to do that. I think they're very cute already, and they already do carry stuff for you. I don't think they need a little backpack. Yeah. If you want them to have a little backpack, you can make a resource.
Make it be a floating chest. There you go.
Just a chest flying around.
No. Make it. What was it? The thing that they scrapped. The bundles. Just make it a bundle. Yeah.
Just a bundle flying around. Just, you don't know what's in it. Don't know what it's carrying. It's just flying around. Jeez. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not so blue sheep's wish. I would like to domesticate the wandering trader. What if you could establish certain conditions that would convince the wandering trader to give up his blue robe and become a villager? Then you wouldn't have to move villagers to a swamp or a jungle or convert a zombie, which would give peaceful players an opportunity to set up a village without having to do village transport. This would also maybe improve people's feelings about the wandering trader, more so than the recent updates have anyway. I would be up for that. Yeah, that if they did that, then I'd think, do you know what? I'll keep the wandering trader. We'll take him out of the bin. We'll bring him back. If I could just turn him into a villager.
Okay, but from the way that they described it, it sounds like he would give up his trades. If we can convert the wandering trader into settling down, and he keeps his trades.
Why do you want to keep his trades? His trades are useless.
Well, then what's the point of converting him to a normal villager? Oh, here's the wandering trader.
It goes from something completely useless to being all of a sudden very useful.
Well, I mean, if they change how the trades work, I wouldn't mind having a wandering trader that could trade me gunpowder, or it could trade me blue ice, or whatever. If I lock him in on those trades, you give me 20 wandering traders. Okay, I slowly get one. I find the first one that gives me blue ice. Okay, I convince him to stay. He's now a permanent resident in my area. I get another one that's got blue ice. He's now permanent. You give me 20 of those, I can get blue ice without going and destroying a stupid biome. I'm fine with that.
Okay. They've got two avenues to go down here. One is what you've just said, but the only way that's going to work if they give the wandering trader something useful and he spawned in more regularly. Because otherwise, you could be waiting your entire life to get a trading full of wandering traders. The other option is just make the wandering trader have an ability to convert them into a villager and don't make any more changes. So that's a lot more simple. I'm happy with either. Which one are we having?
Well, if you could convert him into a villager and he keeps his trades, I'm fine with that.
Okay, fine. Good idea. Keeps useless trades. There you go.
Well, maybe he can get a few new. Maybe he can get rid of some of his trades, but he keeps some.
Gets new trades on RNG.
Okay, on RNG. Okay,
when
that's
you
fine.
level him
I'm
up.
fine with that. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, jeez, wow.
A new trade pool.
Yeah,
There we go.
exactly.
Okay.
Okay, who's next?
Brew a Ruby?
Wow, Ruby.
Rah, rah. Oh, anyways, yeah. If they're going to mess with enchanted books, maybe they can make them stackable. No.
Why? Why not?
No.
Why can't everything be stackable?
So what happens with the Unbreaking 3, Silk Touch, then Efficiency 5 book? Do you
it'd be
get...
stacked by data, wouldn't it? So it only Unbreaking 3 books would stack together. If it had something else on, it's not going to.
Okay, I'm fine with that. If it's stackable like that, based on the data. All right.
Yeah, okay. Stacked by data, good idea.
Okay,
Brilliant.
so here's a question for you, though. So if I take a book that has Unbreaking, then I put Efficiency 5 on it and Silk Touch, and I do all the books in that order, will they all stack then?
Well, if they've all got the same enchantments, yeah.
Okay, yep, I like it then. Yep, so good.
Yep.
Make it so.
Okay. Brood591 says, I would like a better way of telling an relay to stay in an area. It gets quite annoying having note blocks going off all the time just so your relay won't keep throwing things at you rather than the collection system. Just put a block on top of the note block and then it won't make any noise, Brood.
Yep. That's simple.
Yep. There you go.
Wyoming AG Coffee is up next. It says, Hi, Foxy and Slack. My wish list for this week would be able to make more recipes with the food we already have. Just a thought. Go easy, please, again. Are you saying I can make a steak and potato dish and get like double the healing capacity?
Nope.
You don't like the idea?
I don't like it. I don't want more food in Minecraft. I don't want more recipes. Food. The thing is, right, unless they have a massive overhaul to the food system, the food in Minecraft's pointless. It doesn't make any difference. You're just eating it for the sake of eating it. You eat golden carrots because they're useful. They're never going to make something that's better for you than golden carrots. I just don't see the point.
You remember that one debate we had a long time ago where we talked about how you could enchant food with potions? Oh,
yeah,
that would be so good. Yep.
Yeah, if they made changes so that you had plates and you could have a table and you could put plates on the table and you could have different foods and you could I don't know. I just don't see the point. I never have in games when they've got recipes. I've never been one there's a lot of survival games where there's lots of recipes and all you ever do is you go online and go, right, what's the easiest one to make that gives me the most stuff? And that's it. What's the point?
Even in 7 days, once you reach a certain point, you're like, what's the best food? Oh, yeah, that's it. That's the only one I'm going to make after this point. Yep.
Yeah. That Zelda did a good way of doing it. So basically, eventually in Zelda, if you travel around long enough, you find something called the Horse God. And the Horse God will either bring horses back from the death or from the dead or make them more faster, stronger, whatever, but based on recipes. You have to cook it different meals in order to do it. So it gets you into learning different recipes in order to do that, which is quite good. And the different recipes, depending on what you cook them with, give you different status effects. So if you cook something with a fire fruit, then you're better at attacking things in fire, or you can get fire resistance, things like that. So there's a lot of good reasons there for cooking with different ingredients because not only do you get different amounts of hunger back or health back depending on how much what ingredients you use, you can also got a whole bunch of different status effects and things like that. So if we had something like that, then great, but we don't. The way
I got a question for you because you make a lot of add-ons.
Hmm.
Okay, so in the game right now, you can give the horse a golden carrot, a golden apple, an apple, and you can give them sugar when you ride them to make them go faster, right?
Can you?
I'm pretty sure you give them sugar and they go faster.
I've never heard of that one, but okay.
I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. But here's my question. You made the dolphin add-on that you fed them with fish, they go faster.
Yeah.
Could you make an add-on where if you feed a horse a golden carrot, it gets speed 2? And if you feed it a golden apple, it gets speed 3 and stuff like that?
No. No, really because there's a component called Minecraft Boostable, which is how the dolphins work, and you can only pick one item for it. So you can pick an item, and that will make it go faster. There's one when you're actually riding on an entity, you can't interact with it. So all that Boosterable's doing, it's going, oh, they've used this item that's in their hand, so we're going to do this to the entity. Whereas in order to get an entity to react to something when you click on it, you have to have an interact component, but that doesn't work when you're riding on it. So if you could interact with it while you're riding on it, yes. Now, you could do it in a really janky way with the beta API system, because on that, although they keep patching this out, but there's still a way of getting around it. But there was a way to basically, in fact, no, you can detect when you click in on nothing when holding an item in your hand. So you could detect if you're riding a horse, right, or whatever entity, and clicking with something in your hand, and then applying that status effect to the horse that you're riding. So you could do it that way, but they keep patching it out that you can click on thin air with an item and it fires that basically triggers something, because it's difficult to do that on mobile. So it's really useful being able to do that, because it enables you to like open UI systems and things like that without having to click on something in the game. You just have to hold an item and right click effectively. But it's a bit janky because they don't really like it. But you could do it that way. So
Really sad.
Yeah.
I want a horse overhaul.
Lorenzo says, I know we're still all in agreement that Tumble Dodge is going to be added, but I'm not sure if the name works for me. I workshopped the name with my family, and here's what we got. Tumble Dodge, Dodge Tumble, Roly-Poly Maneuver, Drop, Roll, Run, Dodge Maneuver, Roll Dodge, Combat Roll, or Dodge Roll. Grapple hooks. Enough said. I think I quite like the last one. That Dodge Roll sounds good. Pretty good sounding name for a Tumble Dodge there. Yeah.
No,
yes, it rolls off the tongue.
No, I like Tumble Dodge. We agreed on Tumble Dodge. That's
Okay,
what it
Tumble
is.
Dodge did. Okay. Jeez.
Whitebush is up next. Lorenzo, don't you do that again. Whitebush is up next and says, make enchanted books editable. When placed on a lectern, you can flip through the pages. Each page is a separate enchantment and delete undesirable pages in the book. Many times there is way too much junk among a good enchantment or two. No.
Well, there isn't. You might get, okay, so you can get an enchanted book that's got a whole bunch of stuff on there, but it's only relevant to whatever you're putting it on. Like, if you're putting it on a helmet, just the helmet ones will go, and it's not like you're going to get lure 3 on your helmet, you know?
Yeah.
So, I know it makes it a little bit unsightly for your OCD to look at there, because you're only wanting some of them, but you don't need to take them out. Just put it on your helmet, and then the other ones will go away. So, no, I don't think that, and that would be, like, I guess Curse of Binding and Curse of Vanishing would have to, like, they would be locked into the book. No. Sorry.
No.
Man with a plan. Ruined conduit and underwater ruins. Give them a use. You need to collect the heart of the sea from buried chests still. I love this idea. This is another one of those things where you have to go to the wiki. You find the heart of the sea. You don't know what it does. How are you supposed to know with that exact structure that you're supposed to build around it in order to get the different levels? Because still, a lot of people don't even know that a conduit has 5 different levels, depending on how much prismarine you put around it and where you put it around. If you had, like, just broken bits of those shapes underwater, like the ruined portals for the netherrack portals, you get an idea of what you're supposed to do. It's not telling you what to go in the middle of it. Maybe it could have, like, a dead one in the middle or something like that, and you have to go and find one, like a real one. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Maybe it's just because I ate, or maybe it's just because we had 2 bad ones in a row. I'm fine with this one. Man with the plan, you got it.
Woo!
X-Zone is up next and says, hi, Fox and Slacky. Slacky? I'm done.
It doesn't say that. You just read that yourself.
I'm done. I'm going home. Wait, I am home. I'm done.
Amazing. Well, I didn't get your name wrong this time, Slack. It was you.
I'm done. I'm done.
You can never call me out again.
I'm done. I'm done.
Come on, Slacky, get this one read.
All right, have Foxy and Slacky. Yep. An option to remove Wandering Trader. Is this? Wait a minute. Is this? Yeah. Okay. An option to remove the Wandering Trader to the game, or a Wandering Trident. It's a trident which, when thrown, wanders around the simulation distance, not too close to the edge, so it doesn't stop being loaded, and kills Wandering Traders nearby. The option to clear need for Minecraft and Trident. No, this is a horrible idea. No, we got rid of the Wandering Trader.
Hang on, Slack. There is already an option to remove Wandering Traders. There is literally a command you can run, and you can do it for Pillager trolls as well. You just run that command, and Wandering Trader will never, ever spawn again. So don't need your Wandering Trident there, X-Zone. Wish granted. You're welcome. Gabbity. Gentlemen, generated structure idea. Bridge ruins over ravines of a certain width or depth. could serve as a signpost for a particular Y-level access. If a player reconnects both sides, a chest would appear in the middle of it with some mid-level loot. Thoughts? I like the idea that ravines have little bridges and stuff going over them, but I don't know how easy that would be for the game to do, because ravines are it's just a bit of like random noise added into the game. It's not actually a structure. So when you're trying to add in structures, they're just based on an area, and it goes, right, how flat is this area? What's the Y level of this area? Can we fit a structure here? And if it can, it will. Whereas ravines, they're added in after the terrain generation. They're just cut through the land. The game doesn't know that they're really there to add in structures, or certainly it knows where it is because it knows where it's going to place them, but it doesn't know what shape it is or where the levels would be. But that would be cool if you went, you're going down a ravine and there's just like a half a bridge there. I'm not bothered about the chest appearing in the middle. I think that would be too much coding to do. But
I'm not interested in the chest, but bridges, even some bridges showing up over some rivers would be cool.
Yeah, like just either half built or even completed ones. That would be good. Just any
ruined bridges,
structures like that. Yeah.
Ruined bridge. Yeah.
Good idea. Just bridges.
Yep. Just bridges.
Not to be confused with Jeff Bridges.
No.
We don't want Jeff Bridges in Minecraft. Okay?
I don't know. It might be worth having. I'm just saying. White Buzz's up next and says, wool scraps. Right-click on the wool block like an axe on copper or wood to break it down into 2 wool scraps. The wool scraps can be applied just like waxing signs or copper to noise-making blocks like pistons, droppers, etc., and it will silence them. Picking up the block loses the silent state and wool scraps.
I don't think you need to make wool scraps. Why not just click on it with wool? Wool's like infinite supply if you've got a sheep farm.
Yeah, or even just let me wax it because there's already something in the game and just makes it shut up. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, but that doesn't really make sense though, does it? The fact that that wool does have like sound occlusion for certain things, note blocks, and like the vibration things, that kind of makes sense. The law's already there, so I get wool would be a better option. I just don't think we need the scraps. I like the idea that you can.
I like the idea. I just don't like the scraps. Yeah.
Yeah. The only problem with that is though, you've gone and muted all your redstone, and then something's not working. The sound coming from redstone components is often a really good indication of whether it's working correctly or not. Because every redstone contraption has got a rhythm. So when that rhythm's off, you know there's a problem. If you've gone and made it all silent, they're like, I don't know which one's the problem. But yeah, I think good idea, but not wool scraps, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to silence your redstone and not know what's broke, that's your own prerogative, yeah.
Yeah. Whitebush, renewable sand idea. Did you know that sand comes from fish poop, specifically the parrotfish? Hang on a minute, Whitebush. Facts. Not all sand comes from parrotfish. In the fact there are huge areas of the world, particularly the UK, which are heavily based on sandstone, which is basically over millions and millions of years, the terrain has just basically condensed into really ridiculously hard sand. And a lot of the sand in the sea comes from the erosion of that sandstone. So, which is why, we don't have any tropical fish up in the northern hemisphere or even in the low southern hemisphere. But there's still plenty of sandy beaches. So just hold it. There might be some sand coming from parrotfishes eating coral, but not all of it. Jeez. Okay. They eat coral, expel the sand from our beautiful white beaches. So I was thinking, what about a new coral block? Once it grows 3 blocks tall, it can produce edible coral on any of its 4 sides that gets eaten by a new parrotfish who drops the sand, floats in the water, kind of the way the frog eats slimes to give lanterns. I don't mind that idea, actually. Free sand.
Look, I think an easier way to get sand is just have husks drop it.
Yeah. The problem with
I deal with a water collection system when we've already got a mob in the game that could drop it.
Yeah, but it makes it just a new mechanic. I think that could make for some interesting farms. The only problem I have with that is that the coral would need to be growable, because if a parrotfish is eating the coral, it's going to disappear, right? You can't just eat the same piece of coral forever and keep producing sand. So there's a multi-factor farm to add in here. You'd need some way of growing this coral, and coral grows. It takes a long time to grow coral, so you need a lot of it. And then you need a way of collecting the sand as well. So I quite like this, just for the fact that it would be a really interesting challenge to build that farm. And it doesn't hurt.
Do you want another entity, though? A parrotfish?
Well, if it's going to give me free sand, yeah. Why not? Or just make one of the tropical fish do it. It doesn't have to be a parrotfish. Just make tropical fish do it. I don't care.
Okay. All right, fine. Yeah, sure.
Good idea, tropical fish.
I'm not going to argue because the dog's just barking. That's all I hear. Praetor is up next and says, I have a perfect idea. You watch yourself saying you got that kind of thing, but we'll see. Let's remove all other food from the game except for golden carrots from the game. It's the only food anyone will ever need.
From the game. Yeah, but you would die before you ever got them. You would just be continually dying until you actually built some way of getting golden carrots, because how are you going to survive without the early game food? How are you going to survive without your wheat and your bread and your carrots and your potatoes and your beef and your bits of chicken that you get from those first few scraps of animals that you find around the world? Don't be silly, Praetor. That's a stupid idea. Certainly
Rubbish.
not perfect.
Rubbish.
Yep. Not so blue sheep. I wish marketplace content had a 10-minute free trial before purchase. As a regular texture pack user, I hate spending money on a pack only to find that one or more of my favourite blocks looks ridiculous. I would agree with that. But once you've downloaded something, how do they stop you from then sneaking those files away and putting them on something else? It would be, I think, better. I think you should definitely get a trial. That's a good idea. But better if they had some sort of almost online world you could join with that pack on, so you're not actually downloading it locally, but you can see it, or a way of being able to preview those blocks without them downloading directly to your device. Because as soon as you start allowing people to download stuff, you're just creating a system.
Yeah. What if every marketplace thing had a test world that came with, or just even if it's like one chunk or two chunks that you could just. You log in, you test it, you look at it. I like this. Yeah,
exactly. And if those, because obviously normally when you join a world, the resource pack and the ad are loaded to you locally. They'd have to develop a way for you to be able to have that resource pack enabled, but not have it locally enabled, which I'm sure is doable. You know, plenty of games are streamed online and played online, so I can't see why that would be too difficult. So yeah, I think definitely free trials, but in a way that stops things from being stolen. Rotate Dowel Face. Is it me or you? It's you.
That's me. Yep. Rotate Dowel Face says, here's an idea that isn't necessarily something I want, but it's an idea that might be interesting to discuss its usefulness. Standing on a hopper moves items from your inventory. Perhaps it should be a new kind of hopper for this function, but would it be useful? Is it something people would like?
It's doable. You can give there's a component called siphonable or something like that. You can add it to any entity and make it so that when it stands over a hopper, it will the items will remove from its inventory. I believe you can add it to the player as well, but I don't know if it interacts with the player inventory. I have to try that. Definitely works with cows, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, let's make a cow with a secret inventory in it. And then when it walks over this hopper, it's going to drop its inventory, and that worked. So probably doable. Would it be useful, though? Be good for storage systems.
I would like it if only I could have lockable inventory slots that they couldn't touch.
Yeah, because the problem is you start walking around your world and all of a sudden things go missing because some interesting person has been putting hoppers underneath things, hopper minecarts running about under the floor that you don't know are there. And all of a sudden, all your items have going missing. And all of the farms that have got hopper minecarts in that you're working on, all of a sudden your items are going missing. I think you'd need to have, like a lockable inventory. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
It needs work.
Yeah. Zony Files next saying, I wish the game devs would change the fisherman villager's master trait from him buying a boat for an emerald to selling you a boat for 1 emerald or more. This trade is so useless, I bet you've never used it, or anyone listening to has either. I realise no one else besides me cares. I've challenged myself not to craft anything on my current world, and I wanted to slow down early game progression because that's what I enjoy the most. And yes, I love the new update features. I really enjoy the podcast and listen to the whole thing, even if it's 3 hours. So, buy a boat instead of sell a boat. I mean, yeah, fine. I ain't got a problem with that.
Sure. Make it be random.
What, a random boat or just...
No, sometimes he'll buy it. Sometimes he'll sell it.
Okay. Good idea. Random trade direction. Okay. I won't have a clue what that means when I come to edit this, but there we go.
It's fine. Ginger Muffin is up next and says, I would love that if you rename a tool or an item in your inventory, if it was dropped on death, it would not despawn because it was renamed.
Yes.
Thanks for the podcast.
Makes sense as well, because if you rename an entity, they don't despawn. The law is there. Yes, I would love this. Good idea.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yes. Yeah, because they're still going to burn up in lava and things like that. But
yeah, I'm actually fine with that.
Yeah.
So I could just start naming entities and throwing them out, and they never despawn.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah. Yeah, just rename all of the items in your raid farm and then break all the chests. Thanks, Slack. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yep.
You need a lot of levels to do that. Good luck. Good luck doing that. As the first, my second attempt at this one, because apparently I wasn't clear for the first time. From a story perspective, abandoned things, villages and trail ruins, should have a reason why they're abandoned. Something dangerous and useful is in this chunk, e.g. a spawner, ancient city or stronghold, etc. It doesn't prevent the user from building anything. It's just a hint to them that there's something better than shards there. So you're saying if you come across an abandoned village, or no, a village or a trail ruins, an abandoned one, then there is a dangerous thing nearby, either a spawner, an ancient city, or a stronghold. I don't mind that.
Do you know how many abandoned things there would be generated then?
It doesn't have to have an abandoned thing, I guess. I just imagine if there is an abandoned one, it means that's a good way of indicating there is one nearby. Because yes, if you had an abandoned thing for every single spawner in the world, the world's going to be littered with abandoned villages.
I mean, we already have that with villages. Because, village is the stronghold here.
Yeah, generally speaking, the stronghold normally spawns in the same place as a village. So that kind of is already there. But I think if every single abandoned village or trail ruins or nether portal you saw, you knew there was something useful around it somewhere, like close by, like a spawner. I think that's a great idea.
I think it's a good idea, but I want more oomph to it.
Why would that nether portal be there? That ruined portal. Why would they have built it in the first place?
Okay, so what's gonna be there? What is gonna say? Okay, there's a ruined portal here. What's it telling me is there? Is it telling me that on the other side of that portal, at those exact coordinates, there's a bastion?
Oh, could be. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So there's an abandoned village here. What's it telling me? That there's a mine shaft underneath of this?
Ooh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, because
if it's very specific and tells, I could be fine with it. But if it's just something as simple as, there's a spawner nearby, no, I'm not for that.
Okay.
But if it's very specific.
What if a trail ruins was the spawner? If you every trail ruins you dug out, there's a spawner nearby.
How close nearby? Within like a chunk or two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, good idea, but specific.
Yeah, very specific.
Very specific. Nice. Okay, brilliant. Well done.
So if you get a small, like this could be cool. So if you get a small ruined portal, okay, there's a bastion. But if you get one of the giant ones, there's another fortress.
Yeah. Oh, I like this idea. Yes. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I really like that idea. Very good. Well done, Essifer.
Yeah. Right. Basic stupidity is up next. It says, hello guys. I was thinking that we need to update the stronghold. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities like an enchanting room or other things related to magic. Right now, the only interesting rooms are the library and of course the end portal. I don't know, just an idea. I
hope they do something with it when we get an end update. It does make sense. It does make sense. It's fun. It is a fun labyrinthy place, but you're right. There's a lot of dead ends and not really much of interest in there. So yeah, it'd be cool to have a few more things going on. I don't really want an enchantment table set up in there.
No.
I think that would be too much. But other tutorially hints to other things going on in the game, other interesting areas. Maybe I'd like more labyrinthy stuff, like Redstone, like, oh, you can't get through there unless you know the code, and it's random every time, something like that. I like the idea of like floors that disappear with lava underneath, blocks that you can walk on that break underneath your feet and you fall into spikes or something. Anything like that would be awesome. Yep.
Yeah, I'm for an overhaul of that. Yep.
But we can't put it in a good idea because that's not what you said. So no. No, I'm going to put it as a good idea, but when we get the end update, yeah?
Good idea. End update, yep.
When we get end update. Okay.
They better put an end update out this year then.
I hope so. Essifer says, I love figuring things out in game, and portal linking is a headache because there's no way to figure it out. It requires coordinates to be turned on, and even when you're not likely to figure it out on your own, what if the game provided a means to link two portals using special obsidian block in addition to the arbitrary divide by 8 semantics? These portal linking blocks could occur naturally in ruin portals. They could also be crafted using chrome obsidian. There would have to be rules, only one destination per portal. Many portals can have the same destination. Seems like it'd be useful and easy to figure out in game. A bonus usage would be to link two portals to the same dimension, kind of a poor man's teleport. Yeah, no, it'd be way too easy to set up fast travel if you did that. Way too easy.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what we would do real quick.
One side of the world to the other in the blink of an eye. No, it can't be like that. Yeah. You're right. You do need to have coordinates on if you want to link things perfectly. I think when this was put in, they just assumed that people would be at a reasonable distance from each other and there weren't going to be millions of portals altogether. I think it was relatively short-sighted because the way that it works, they do generally link to the closest one. And it's only when you're building big nether hubs and you've got bases close by and you've got farms with using multiple portals that you really run into a problem.
Yeah.
So some tweaking maybe, some way of making it a little bit more obvious maybe, but I think for most people, probably like 90% of players, they would never come across an issue where it's linking to the wrong one.
Yeah, they probably never intended the nether portals to work the way they did. But it is what it is. I mean, for a one-player world, it works probably ideal. Oh, that's where my portal is. Oh, that's all I'll ever need. Yep.
Yeah.
How do you say that person's name?
Dash Nashrichter.
Yep, I cannot pronounce that. Right. I'd like the horns to pop off of Ravengers like the goat horns. Once the horns are off, the Ravenger becomes peaceful, and you can then ride it around.
No. Sorry. Don't like that idea. I don't like the idea that that's a peaceful animal. I don't think horns make an animal evil. I think it's its temperament. And they're bred to be mean. You take the horns off a Ravager, it's going to be even more angry.
Yeah. That's going to look funny.
It's going to look really weird. DJ Chris is back with the last piece of wish list saying, hey, DJ Chris plays the blockhead here. What if we had other weapons in Minecraft? Like katanas, which do less damage than swords but are super fast, or a bow, a fighting staff, which is held with both hands and does more damage than a sword but slower, and a rope dart, like the one that Scorpion has from Mortal Kombat, that does less damage than a bow and works like the fishing bow but goes in straight in 30 blocks. We've said we want a combat update. We said we want new weapons, we want new things. We're not... You're not getting a good idea on that one because we've already said it. You're just giving us different weapons. We're not putting in... no, sorry.
No, you're not getting your specific weapons. Bye.
Okay, that is it for the wish list. If you got a wish that you want added to the game, we have been told by Mojang themselves that if we add things into the good ideas bin, they are guaranteed to get into the game eventually unless they don't like those ideas.
Yep.
And we technically haven't been told that. But I think that if they saw that and heard it, that's what they'd say.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So get those wishes in, feedback form, email thing, and Discord job. Right. It's time to go into the questions, but Slack, I've had so much root beer, so much drink, and so much coffee that I need to go to the little boys' room again, even though we already had a break. Do you
That's
mind?
fine. I could use a drink. Yeah. I could have a quick drink too. Yep.
All right. Back in a mo, peeps.
Yep.
Hey, we're back, guys. We're back.
Indeed. Mm-hmm.
Right. Before we get into the questions, Slack. Oh, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, I was going to try a root beer float, but it looks like my My ice cream's gone a bit off. It's been in there a very long time. I don't know why the yellow's turning, going through the green screen, but yeah, it's not looking ever so appetizing. That I bought this a very long time ago for Oliver. It's Neapolitan ice cream, which means there's strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate in there. But I don't think I want to put that in my root beer anymore.
So you got you another root beer, huh?
Well, yeah, I was going to have a root beer float. And I was going to make this the root beer podcast, but that ice cream looks minging. So that's a negatory of that. But I will help myself to another root beer now that they're a bit colder. They've been in the fridge a while. So let's. It's
colder the better. Just saying.
Yeah, but better be. Let me just pour. There we go. Look.
Can I help you, Toretto?
The dream of champions. No, the drink of champions. That's what I mean. Look at it go. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Nice. Can't wait to not sleep tonight because I've had way too much root beer. How much sugar's in this?
So I'm pretty sure it doesn't have like no caffeine.
There's only 19 calories. Oh, per 100 ml, and there's 375 in. There's still not very many calories. No fat. Hardly any sugar, really. 4.5 grams. And a little bit of salt. That's not bad. What's in it then? Its main ingredient is sugar, carbonated water, and then sugar. Well, what? How can Okay, basically just water then. Right. Okay.
You're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait, or Foxy's gonna have to let me get up.
He's starving. What do you need now?
He's starving. He's starving.
He's starving.
He's starving. You
shared your breakfast with him.
Well, it was my breakfast, not his. All right, I'm in the other room. I've got the pouch of food. I'm on my way back. He's doing the host shaking. I'm dying if I don't get fed routine. Yeah. Okay. Right here. Would you like this? Is this what you would like here?
Professionals, guys. Professionals.
Would you like hickory smoked chicken? Does that sound good to you?
I'd like nicer ice cream that's not gone off.
Well, I can't really help you with that. You should have got some while you were at the shop all ago.
Well, I didn't. I thought I already had ice cream in.
Well, you should have checked it if it's that old.
It's been in the freezer. I said, freezer things in the freezer don't go off. That's the point of having a freezer.
Well, if it's got frost on it like that, you got an air leak around your freezer.
Everything in my freezer's got frost on it.
Then you've got an air leak. You got a bad seal.
Oh, great. That's good. Man.
If you got frost is made from the humid air, and it only happens when you have a bad seal.
Oh, okay. Great.
Excuse me. Green screen. Get back there. Yep. Okay.
Right. Slack, would you like to start us off with questions now that you've, fed the dog, had your breakfast? Well,
Right. Not So Blue Sheep is up with, how many bedrooms do you think a castle has? I'm building one, you see, and I'm struggling to find a mix of realism and ridiculousness. It's a lot of bedrooms, isn't it? I mean, how many bedrooms and bathrooms does a mansion have?
Well, I think a castle, probably, just the castle bit, will only have like a few bedrooms in it because they don't want the peasants and everyone sleeping there. There'll be the bedroom for the king and queen, depending on how many kids they've got, like 3 or 4 bedrooms, and the rest of it will just be rooms, empty rooms with spikes in that just don't allow anyone to sleep in there because kings and queens are evil. Yeah.
How many rooms does a castle have? 4 private bedchambers and 6 gatehouses. There you go. That's the answer when I Googled it.
Oh, right. Really? Okay. Yep. There you go then. There you go. Nice. Oh, I'm glad we got that sorted. Oh, I was wondering that for ages, so that's good news.
I mean, if you have a citadel, though, it has 30 bedrooms and 47 lavatories.
Castles. Yeah, we're just talking the castle. And if you're talking about like an old castle that's like half missing, or even like just one that's the front of a castle that's used for a set and a TV, they've got no bedrooms in at all. So, there you go.
Yeah.
Whitebush says, I will ask this as a question, so it's legally in this thread. Did you read my post in general chat shortly after I posted my wish about parrotfish? I did admit they're a parrotfish, not where they only get the. Don't put conversation in there. No, that's not right. That's not on.
No.
That's not legally in this thread. That's bad. That means next time Whitebush says anything, I'm going to totally ignore it.
Yep. I'll go ahead and read the next one for you if you'd like. Yep.
Yes, please.
Man with a zero plan says, "What if you guys made an episode of the podcast where you talked about how Truly Bedrock bases are going and live stream the link to the podcast? If it's a bad idea, let me know.
It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
Two issues. One, talking about bases without actually seeing them would be a bit weird. Two, I haven't got a clue. I have no idea what anyone else is doing on the server. I just mind my own business, doing my own thing. So call me a bad server member. I am. Not a clue. So it would be very difficult, very, very difficult for us to do that.
Yep.
The Mike says, do you think the Mojang is attempting to change the god level tools and armor with this update? With the current anvil levels required to max out, you will have to choose carefully between enchantments. If you want efficiency 5, you might not be able to add Unbreaking 3. Current god level tools would be impossible without the native efficiency 5 or Unbreaking 3 box. I don't think so.
No.
They obviously didn't want us having like proper god level armor, which was it had fire protection and projection and blast protection and projectile protection all on one piece. They stopped that because that was a thing for a while. I don't think that if they take that away from us, I think people would turn away from the game in droves. You know?
Yeah, and Mike, they're not stopping you from getting, as you put in quotation marks, god level tools and armor. You know, if they decide to overhaul, say, fishing, and you can't get anything like above, like efficiency 2, and then they nerf raid farms where you can't get books above level 2, and then they go in and change loot tables for chests that spawn stuff in the end where you can't get anything good. It's not impossible. They're just making it a little bit harder and trying to change the way it currently works. They're not stopping you. Now, if they all out wanted to stop it, there's several ways that they would do it, not just tackling one thing.
Yeah, well, it's dead easy for them to do. They would do like what they've got with the certain things like infinity and mending don't go together on a boat, right? They're just
when they used to. Yeah.
No, okay, you can't have efficiency and unbreaking on a pickaxe. No, they wouldn't. No,
if they did that, there would be too much uproar. Yeah, I don't care which side
to me
that
is
came
akin
from.
to them going, "Hey, we're not making Java Edition anymore," and just watch everyone go, "All right, buy them." Right, okay. Oh, geez. Xenon says, "Oh, it's you, isn't it?"
Zenon says, "Do you think Mojang should continue with Minecraft Live or should go back to the Minecon?"
Financially, for them, doing Minecraft Live is such a safe thing for them to do. It's much, much cheaper. They can produce it whenever they want. Don't be convinced into believing it's live because there's no way it is. Absolutely no way it is. The hat guy bits might be with the results of the mob vote and stuff like that. But then bit where they're sat down on stage and they're talking about stuff, there's no way that's live. I don't believe it. But it doesn't need to be live because everything they say there is easy to be pre-recorded. The only bits that need to be live is when they're doing something like a result, like right at the end when they're going, "Oh, this is the mob vote that's won." If they are doing it live, then great, because they're not really talking about much or saying much. But doing it not live for those bits when they're talking about new features and things means they're not going to accidentally slip up and tell us things that we're not supposed to be told. You know?
Yeah.
I would much prefer a Minecon, and I think it would be in Mojang's interest a little bit because it's a good money-making system. You know, the problem is this Minecraft's so big now. The last time they tried to organize one, it was like no one could get tickets because it was sold out instantly. Was it 10 seconds?
2 minutes.
It was sold out?
Yeah, I think it was like 10 seconds for the most of it, and then 2 minutes, there was no way you were getting nothing.
Yeah, but I love the idea of... I went to the one in London in 2015. It was fantastic, and I would absolutely love to do that again. It was brilliant. I'd like to go to something like that, not just to see that, but to go and meet you guys as well, you know, to actually have common ground somewhere to go to meet people that were, you know, were interested and you know, say hello to people that I've known for ages through the internet but never actually bumped into. So I would love for them to do that, but it's a massive, massive, massive thing to put on, and it costs millions to put on an event of that size. So much planning. And the last time they tried and did it, they were going to bring it back, and then they had to cancel it because of COVID. They were going to bring it back the next year, and they had to cancel it again. So I think the safe bet is for them to just stick with Minecraft Live, which is sad because Minecraft Live's just been totally abysmal for the last couple of years.
I think Minecon would be nice to have back. Yeah, Minecraft Live doesn't interest me.
No.
At all.
You get very, very little information about what's actually coming into the game now. You get all of this there's just the way they talk to you.
They
right?
talk
The
to you like
presenters.
you're a kid.
Yeah, and yeah, I get it. Minecraft is played by a lot of kids, but I would be really interested to see the demographics for who actually watches Minecraft live, and I bet I bet the average ages are much higher than it is the people that play the game, because
Yep.
it's the people that are like Oliver. He's not interested in Minecraft Live, not remotely, and he loves
No,
Minecraft.
but he would be interested in Minecon.
Yeah, he'd love to go to Minecon. So, like, why do they talk to us like they're in nursery? It drives me mad. Like, I just, yeah, they just need, the whole format needs to change. They need to, if they're going to do it like live online, they need to present it in a way that's just not totally condescending, not pedantic. What's it called? Basically,
Belittling? I don't know. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, I think.
Well, then the last one was the big letdown. I mean, they spent all of Minecraft Live talking about other Minecraft related stuff and not even getting to the base Minecraft game until like the last 3 minutes. That they covered Minecraft Legends and Minecraft this. And please give me Minecon, where if I want to go to an event that's focused on this side over here is focused on Legends, I can just walk away from that and not have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to Minecon, it was brilliant because they had like loads of different events going on. They had this big stage event with dancers, and it was all Minecraft things, trampolinists, magicians, and all that sort of stuff. Then they had this huge showcase of what Minecraft was going to be doing. They had like content creators coming up on stage, like playing games with each other. But then they had all of these different rooms as well, with like one of them you could go in and it was talking about modders, and like there were a bunch of like really like famous modders that were up there talking about how they'd done this with the game and what they'd done. And there were just loads of different things like that. That's great because you're taking Minecraft and you're focusing it on all of the unique and individual bits of it. And it doesn't really matter how much of the game you're giving away, because you're creating hype just by having people being interested in it can connect to it. Whereas Minecraft Live, you can't connect with any of it. You can't connect with that ridiculous intro of just random noise and screaming of people playing like mini games together. You can't relate to that. You can't relate to the presenters because they talk to you like children and don't give you any information, and they're clearly just dancing around every subject. It's awful. It just, the whole if they're going to do it live, they need to change the format totally in order to make it engaging and in order to generate hype.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Okay, just quickly from the chat, Mike says, should organise fan gatherings like Trek conventions? I'm assuming you're talking about ourselves. I can't afford to organise a convention. I certainly can't afford to come over to America and do it, which is like the majority of my fans. So not possible, Mike, for me.
But while you could afford to, there's going to be a Minecon in, say, whatever city in the U.S., yeah, I could make a trip over there for that,
Yeah, you'd make the effort, wouldn't you? For like, I was going to do that for the last one that went on,
Oh, let them drop one in the UK. I'm coming if I can get a ticket. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. It's quite a long one. Caselin says, Foxy and Slack, I'm currently in the process of trying to come up with a potion brewing system that can't be broken. In order to make it unbreakable, I've been designing a way to disable the button you press to brew the potions automatically, and it will re-enable itself once a potion's done brewing. Not to go into too much detail to refrain from this becoming a book, but I'm currently using the mechanic of items falling through cobwebs to form a timer. While messing with the cobwebs and timings of the items falling through them, I've come across that items can fall through cobweb at different speeds. For example, if I face a dropper down into a cobweb and drop the item vertically, it takes 24 seconds for the item to go through the cobweb. But if I place a stair on the face of the dropper, it takes 30 seconds for the item to pass through the cobweb. The stair on the face of the dropper is to make the items coming out of the dropper shoot straight down the center. I hope this makes sense. My question is, do you think this is a bug? Is it intentional for items to pass through cobwebs at different speeds depending on whether they are dropping through? Couldn't find anything about this on the bug tracker, thanks. I think you find it's just the difference between having that stair there and that stair not being there. There's probably some weird thing with the item just sort of getting stuck between both before it really sort of figures out that it can fall down the cobweb. So I don't think it's supposed to be random, but I think the fact that you're putting a solid block in front of the dispenser and then firing that into a cobweb is what's causing the problem. Oh, and I tell you what it is. I know exactly what it is. You got a dispenser and a cobweb below it, right? You fire that dispenser, the item isn't going to go to the top of the cobweb. It's actually going to end up sort of about 2-3 quarters of the way up. So it's only got half of that to go down. You put a solid block in the way and you're firing it through, and it's going to end up there. So it's got further through the cobweb to fall down.
Yep, that's exactly it.
So there you go. Problem solved. Cheers, root beer.
Brood 591 is up next. It says, have either of you considered going back to a conventional job to support yourselves and return to content creation as a hobby?
Yep. Many times.
Many times. Many times.
I mean, I've been in a very fortunate position for a long time with like what I was saying in the bonus show. Was it in the bonus show or this one about saving money? I think it was bonus show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And being careful with money and having sold my business a few years ago and being able to keep that sort of be going afloat. But there's been a few times where it's been getting pretty dire in terms of income where I've thought, well, why don't I just go get just a simple job like shelf stacking or something in a local supermarket just to do a few hours a week just to top up that. And I tried. I actually applied for 3 different jobs at Tesco's now, and I've been... I never got through the... when you do it, you have to go online and fill in this application form, which I've done. And I'm not a stupid person, but every time I've done it, they're like, no, sorry, pass.
Yeah. Oh, you've had a big gap in your work history. No, we're not interested in you. Yep.
No, it wasn't even that. It's just the questions were like, so there's 2 sides of it. There was, it's multiple choice questions, but I couldn't figure out whether it wanted me to answer them as a business person, like, oh yes, let's answer these questions so that they're good for the business and make money, or if they wanted me to answer them as like, oh, because all of the questions were, they could have easily been answered one way or the other. Is this best for the customer or is this best for the business? And I didn't know which way to go. So I'm like second guessing myself on this multiple choice game. Well, if that was me and it was my business, then I'd pick that answer. But if I'm trying to get a job there and they want me to be customer focused, then that would be the right answer. And it was just things like, if there's a big queue form in your till and you've got a problem and you're waiting for someone, what do? Do you just like let the person behind you go through? Do you do this? Do you do that and the other? And I'm like, well, if I do that one, that's good for the customer. If I do that one, that's bad for the customer, but potentially I'm going to get more sales through, so it's good for... And every time I did it, I got it wrong. And then once you've done it, it won't let you apply again for like 6 months to a year. So...
greatly considered it time to time. I mean, get all the way to the end of the month and realize that you need X amount of dollars and you only have Y. And then magically... I've only had 1 month where I haven't been able to pay my bills. And the whole time I've been doing this. I only had 1 month. And I was fine that month because the previous month before had been really, really good. I've had close calls. I've had several close calls in a row. But I still haven't had a moment where I haven't been able to pay my bills. But yeah, you think it's not an option? Yeah, it's something I know I think about quite often, and I know Foxy does too.
Yeah, very regularly. Yeah, like brother-in-law a few weeks ago, he was saying he was struggling for people. He sprays cars. This is not his job. He just goes around with a spray can, sprays cars. Gets paid for it, apparently. No, it's his job. And he's saying he's struggling, needs some, staff and stuff. I'm like, well, if you got, if you want someone to just turn up a few hours a week, I'm sure I can figure it out, manage. So, I'm always open to things like that. But realistically, I don't have time. But I'd do it just for a bit of extra cash from time to time.
And then most of the time, though, most people don't want, true part-time help. They want you to work 80 hours a week. And I'm sorry, I'm not, no.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was the problem there was like, well, if you said just you're going to come work for me, then great. But I don't want you just turning up on a Monday for a couple of hours and it's going to be more hassle than it's worth trying to even get you trained up and finding stuff for you to do. So,
yeah, I was talking to the manager at the dollar store down the road. I was like, do you need somebody, just on occasion, come in a couple nights a week and stock shelves for a few hours. I'd do that. And I've known her for years now. And she's like, not really. If you're going to work, I need maybe this week I could give you 10 hours, but the next week I might need you for 50. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested.
No. I thought about taxi and stuff like that because you can be self-employed taxi or contract-based taxi drivers now. But the problem is you'd have to work a lot of shifts as a taxi driver to actually be able to afford your own insurance to cover you to do that, and then repairs and servicing on your car. So you actually end up making a loss if you're only going to do a few hours a week as a taxi driver. And then there's like HGV drivers, and they're all like desperately needing. You can do that on contract now. So I thought about loads of stuff, and I just thought, can't be bothered.
Foxy Uber Eats.
Yes,
Uber Eats driver. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a delivery driver. That would drive me nuts. No, I draw the line at delivery driver. No offense if you're a delivery driver, if that's the sort of thing that gets, that excites you, but that would drive, just starting and stopping constantly would drive me insane.
And then God forbid the restaurant messed up the order and they get you, right?
Yeah,
right. It's your fault.
I think that would probably be the most entertaining part of the job, because the rest of it's just mundane, isn't it? But like lorry driving I could do because it's going from one place to another place far away. If you're a delivery driver, like you look at your app and it says your item's going to be with you at this time, and it's like you're number 78 out of 356. And you're like, they've got to stop, pull over, get out, walk to the door, check the doorbell. There's no one in, write a note, go back to the car. Oh, it'd just drive you mad, wouldn't it? No, I don't want to do that. Jeez. Okay, next question. Downloadable Duck. I would like to make a behavior pack so the Wandering Trader's traits are actually useful. However, I can't find the Wandering Trader in the default behavior pack, so I don't know what to call it or in what folder. Do you know where the file's located? Also, I would like some suggestions for the Minecraft community on what to add. Can you suggest some? So you don't know, it's not part of the Wandering Trader entity. It's actually a trade table. So I think it's inside of loot tables and then like trade tables or something like that. It's in one of those. What would you give the Wandering Trader? I don't know.
We gave it. Yeah. Well, he doesn't exist no more. We got rid of him.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. You can't fix him, Downloadable Duck. Just if you've got something that you need in your world that you think he should have, then great. But okay. Next.
Man with zero plan once again says, Foxy, would it be possible to make an invisible item frame add-on? It could allow for nice decorating. Foxy has a pack out there where you can combine. I think he made it a pack where you can combine slime with items.
Yeah,
nice decorations on the wall.
Placeable items,
already.
Yeah.
Placeable items.
The reason for that, okay, so invisible item frame add-ons do exist for Bedrock, but they are awful. Every single one of them that is made is awful. The reason they're awful is because they either use a combination of blocks and entities, or they just use entities. You can't just make invisible item frames in Bedrock. You can't change the vanilla item frame. You can't say if an item frame has got an item in it, make it invisible. There's nothing you can do. So you have to just create a completely custom block, and in order to make it interactable to put an item in there, you have to make that item an entity, which means that every single item frame you've got has suddenly got an entity in it, which makes your world really laggy because entities are laggy. So what I did to get around that was all you are doing is sticking an item to something. I just made a pack that turned every single item into the game into a block, and you could just stick it on any surface and spin it around. So you craft those items into placeable items with a slime block, and hey presto, invisible item frames. All you're doing, you're getting hung up on the idea. Java Edition's got invisible item frames. That's great. You don't need the invisible item frame. Take that out of it. Your end goal is to stick an item to something and make it look like it's stuck to something. Forget the invisible item frame. Doesn't matter how it gets stuck on there. Do it differently.
Yep.
But it's not the same.
It's better. It's actually a block and not an entity. Would generate less lag. Just saying.
Yeah. Ducky McQuack. Hey, Foxy, I have a question. I've heard you mention several times in the past how you can ride dolphins with fish on a stick or something, but I looked on your website and I can't find the add-on for this. So my question is, am I missing it, or is it something special for TB? Thanks again for all you do. Love the podcast. Yeah, it's something special for TB because I'm too lazy to have finished it off and put it on my website. I really should do that. There's loads of stuff I need to do with that, like fix this add-on and update that one and add this one. I just never seem to be able to find time to do them. They always at the bottom of my to-do list, and that bit in the middle just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. So, Sorry, not urgent.
Tiny Raccoon is up next, and they say, hi all, what is your favorite card game? Not necessarily a game using a deck of cards, but any game where cards are the main feature. Example would be or Trivia. What is your favorite board game?
What's your favorite card game, Slack?
Rook.
Don't know that one.
Yep, most people won't.
I kind of like Go Fish. It's easy, isn't it? It's just a fun one to play with kids and stuff. Like, I do like playing, like, there's one I used to play called Find the Lady. I can't remember, this to do with, I can't remember you play it now, but that was really good fun. But it was a bit more complicated and you couldn't really play that with kids. But it's a nice family game, you know. Go Fish is fun. Or Uno's really funny when you reverse Uno-ing people with your grandparents and, you know, and you were working together against one of the people in the family just because it's funny. I don't know.
I mean,
yeah.
52 card pickup with somebody.
No, thank you. My favorite board game. Oh, jeez.
No.
I used to like The Game of Life. That was a good game to play. It was like Monopoly, but without the just same old, take forever, end up in a massive argument. And it was quite good fun, but I don't think I'd want to play it regularly. I like word games. Scrabble's a good one. Boggle, I quite like. Pictionary is fun. I tell you what, it's a really good one. It's not really a board, it kind of is a board game, but we've got this game called Password. We've had it for years. Like, even when we were kids. And we used to go around every Christmas when we go around family, we'd take this game with us. And I remember my auntie's house where we had this game and there was another one called Taboo, and they're quite similar. Basically, you've got a buzzer. So you press a buzzer and the timer goes and starts ticking. Time keeps ticking and it gets faster and faster and faster and faster. And eventually, after a random amount of time, it'll go beep, and that's when you stop. And then you've got this circle with a big sheet, a card inside, which has got loads and loads of words on it. There's a little window in this circle. So you put a card in, you close the window. And when you press the button on the outside, it just like turns it round one. So it's boys versus girls. And the first person handed it, you've got to describe that word without saying it. And then as soon as you've done it, you hit the button, you pass it to the next person, and then you have to sit in order. So you just go boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. And basically whoever it lands on that hasn't described it is the loser, and the other team gets a point. And that was hilarious. The more alcohol you'd had, or the older the relative that was doing it, it was just brilliant trying to watch them try and read it because the writing was really small, but just trying to explain words that they just couldn't, and just people trying to guess. So yeah, that was brilliant. And Taboo was another one. It was a bit more simple than that. You would get a card with a word on it that you had to describe, and someone else on the other team would also know what it was, and there'd be a list of words you couldn't say. And every time that person said a word that they weren't allowed to say, you squeezed this thing and it like made a squeaky noise, and they lost a point or whatever. So yeah, they're really good fun, those games. Jeez. Okay, is it me? Yes.
Yes.
Plod. This is following on from their feedback earlier where they said they were going to follow it up in the questions. Says, I think potions are often overlooked with the possible exception of fire resistance. Perhaps that's due to how easy it is to get enchantments. Why bother with slow falling when you can have feather falling? Just to be clear, that question is rhetorical. Do you think that'll change a bit with the new villager mechanics? Feather falling and slow falling are not the same thing. The reason you don't make slow falling potions is because it's really annoying to fall down slowly. You know, same as you don't make levitation potions because there's no need in Minecraft to ever need to just levitate aimlessly without being able to move around. A lot of the potions in Minecraft are not, even though they're technically buffs, they'd have negative status effects, you know? So I guess fire resistance is actually useful. Jump boost can be useful. Speed boost can be useful. But speed boost's only useful if you're going somewhere and you want to get there really, really fast and you haven't got a Elytra or a horse or something else that's fast. So, yeah, I don't think it'll change, no.
No.
I don't think there's any potions that would actually give you any advantage that enchanted gear can't give you.
No.
Other than fire resistance. I use fire resistance regularly.
Yeah. No, I can't see the villager mechanic changes gonna do anything with potions at all. No. Xeon is up next and says, what is your preferred image extension?
.png or .jpeg, it says. You don't have a preferred image extension. You use the one that is appropriate for the image that you're creating. A PNG and a JPEG are two totally different things that save an image in two totally different ways. If you're making pixel art, for instance, you would save it as a PNG because a PNG, generally speaking, will save all of the information for every single pixel. And the more simple that image is, doesn't matter how big it is, the smaller the file size will be. But if it's a photo that has different color in almost every single pixel of that photo, the PNG file will be massive. So how a PNG works is, let's say you've got a picture like this, the logo behind us. That blue, the first line of pixels along the top of that are light blue for a long time. So it'll go, instead of going blue, 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 for how many there are, it'll go blue 5 or blue however many pixels it is, right? And then it'll go, oh, dark blue 10 or however many pixels it is. So it can save information by having repeated colors. Whereas it can't do that with a photo. So you end up with a massive file size. A JPEG actually compresses an image and saves information differently based on compression. So it doesn't look at every single pixel in the same way. It takes chunks of the image, like chunks of it, and it will go, okay, that roughly is all of those colors. That bit there is roughly all of those colors. That bit roughly all of those colors. And when you put it together, if it's got a high enough resolution and you haven't turned the compression rate down too far, then it still looks like the image it's supposed to look like. So JPEGs are really useful for things like thumbnails of videos and photos or anything that's got a lot of information in it. So you can't have a preferred image extension because it's not, oh, which one's my favorite? It's which one is the right one for the job. That's like saying, do you prefer a hammer or a screwdriver for sawing wood? Well, I'm quite partial to the hammer, actually. So, yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Do you have anything to add to that slide?
Nope, not a word. I mean, if I'm sawing wood, I'm typically going to use a saw, but...
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Use the right tool for the job, don't you, Slack? Not just the wood, not just your favourite tool. I got my toolbox. I got my favourite tool out. Right, what's the job? Right, today you're going to be chiselling this stone statue so it looks just like a real person. Oh, so I don't want this
jackhammer.
This laser level. Then that's not going to be much use, is it?
Oh god, yep, jackhammer. Yeah, that's what I need. Yeah.
Zodifile says, "What's the most useless villager trade? Some ideas: diamonds for emeralds, curse of buying enchanting books, suspicious Jew. Somehow always gets night vision. I'll stick to my emerald for a boat answer. I don't know what's the most useless villager trade. Don't know all the trades.
Don't know all the trades. Couldn't tell you.
No, sorry.
Trading for villagers for emeralds. I can make a raid farm. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The mic is up next and says, I don't play Java, but does a Bedrock Iron Farm work on Java? I know they have scare mechanics and whatnot, but can you on Java wrangle 20 villagers into a small trading hall and have golems spawn just like Bedrock?
I don't know. I don't think so. Probably not. I bet it wouldn't be too far different because I think the scare mechanics one way of doing it, but I think they still will produce golems if there is a big enough village.
I think our rudimentary tray would work.
Yeah, I don't know if the number of beds or the number of villages would have to be different, but I guess something very similar would work.
Yeah. So, they only need, yeah. Anyways, yeah. Just if you're playing Java, do a Java-based farm.
Yeah. Is it me?
Right tool for the job, sorry.
Me as John says, what's the optimal length of feedback?
That.
I don't know. If it looks like it's like, geez.
I can't help you with run-on sentences.
Yeah. If your feedback's well written, if it's, grammar checked and spell checked and easy to read and it makes sense, then if it's a little bit longer, it's not a problem. But if it's just total nonsense that I've got to try and figure out what it's supposed to say and it's 3 pages long, then it is a big problem. Length does play an issue. If you're writing it and you've noticed you actually made it, more than, I guess, 15 lines, more than a couple of paragraphs, then it's too long. Cut it back. But if you've...
Proofread.
Yeah, but proofread it or just run it through a spell check or just like go into Grammarly's free. Just get Grammarly and chuck it in there and just find out all the problems with it.
If I send a message, then we can't be bothered to read it. If you can't be bothered to take the time to see if it's right, then we can't be bothered to read it.
And that's exactly what Mojang think about your bugs. If you can't be bothered to make a bug tracker, bug report for it, they can't be bothered to fix it.
Yep.
Jeez.
That's how we feel about our tutorials. I did this, but it's not right. Did you follow the tutorial? Yes. And then when you check it, no, you didn't. You can't be bothered to make sure you did it right. Well, then I can't be bothered to help you.
Yeah. Okay, who's next? Got a couple of
Stone Ostrich is up next, and they say, what is your favorite mod to play or want to try in Minecraft? Either version. Can't join the stream, so kind of stabbing in the dark with this question. I don't like modded Minecraft.
I would love to give Create Mod a go because I never have, and people keep telling me how wonderful it is. I don't think it would be my favorite mod. I like the mods that have a progression system that are technically based. So anything with like pipes and automatic mining machines and auto crafters and say again.
Roll dodge.
Roll dodge, yeah. No, like there was one I used to play where you could go like you could build up towards building a space rocket and then go to the moon and then you could make boom buggies and there was stuff to do up there as well. There was a whole bunch of stuff. Anything that's technical and it's got an advancement system. And I'm not talking about like Java Edition advancements where it's just always like some of them come with a book, like an advancement book, and it gives you the progression to do through that mod pack and makes it interesting rather than just throwing a million new recipes and items at you and going, here, go have fun. I like that. That's what I like out of a mod pack or a mod. So, but yeah, I think a lot of mods, they all have changed over the years. I haven't played mods for ages, but most mods in my experience on their own are pretty rubbish. But when you get mod packs, although that makes the whole thing a lot more laggy and there's lots of problems because there's conflicts and things like that, you end up often with a better system because there's a bit more to it. But I think there are quite a few mods that are pretty good on their own, but they often just feel a little bit lacking when you've just got one aspect of something. Because when people are making mods, they're not necessarily wanting to create a whole new game. They're going, I really wish we could have electricity in the game. So I'm going to make a mod that's got like a way of generating electricity and then you can use that for this and use that for that. But it doesn't expand into all the other areas of the game. So, like, yeah, so, yeah, don't know. Maribel Jade, is it me next? It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maribel Jade, why doesn't Java have forward placing? Why doesn't it, Slack?
Because it's old and doesn't have linear placing?
No. Well, yeah. Because it doesn't have... that was added in for touch control support, wasn't it? To make life a lot easier for players on touch control, and it just happened to be like really useful for people with consoles and keyboard and mouse as well. Java Edition just never needed to support those things, so it doesn't need to have that. But I bet they wish they had it now.
Oh, you can get janky add-ons for Java Edition to do forward placing if you really want it. But yeah.
It still doesn't work very well on Bedrock Edition, so let's not jump the gun on adding it into Java Edition just yet. But no doubt when they do get that parity, it'll work a lot better than it works for us.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And Jade is up again with does armor and weapon bought from villagers behave the same way level wise as in loot? Pretty sure it does.
Yeah, anything you get that's pre-enchanted will be already at the base. It will be at the base level. It won't have a cost to it. Things only have a cost to it when you start repairing them or adding more enchantments to them or renaming them. It's the player's action that creates the cost. So yeah, anything you get that's already enchanted should be at base level, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
There we go, peeps. That is it. The end of the questions. Before I do that, if you want to ask us a question for next week's show, which won't exist because I'm on holiday, the one after, email us at news@theblockupdate.com, fill out the feedback form on the website, or join our Discord and put it all in there. Just to politely remind you, we are supported by Patreon. If you want to go over to patreon.com/theblockupdate and help us out, again, prices out per podcast, and we would really appreciate it This week, I've got some videos from last week going out. Hopefully on Friday, I'm going to be recording more myth busting with Slack, but I probably won't have time to edit those before I go away. There won't be a podcast next week, but there are any streams from me, for that matter. But hopefully there will be the following week after that. What about you, Slack? What are you up to?
Aside from Truly Bedrock stream weekend coming up, I have no planned Minecraft streams. I'll probably be streaming other games on my second channel. And videos are still going to keep coming out probably Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Typically myth busting stuff right now until something new happens in Minecraft.
Nice. Great. All that's left to say is the same thing that I say at the end of every single podcast, and that is if your ice cream's gone off and grown furry bits on it, then you should probably not eat it too. Jeez.
Yeah. Sounds legit. Yeah. And if you complained that you didn't like root beer and now all of a sudden you gotta go to the store to get some ice cream and more root beer, then your name might be Foxy in no time.
I got 2 more bottles in the fridge. Okay, it was genuinely... At first, it did taste like... It was very much reminding me of that stuff that you have at the dentist, the pink stuff that you swirl your mouth out with. That was the immediate taste I got. But after a couple of bottles of it, it's all right. It's not awful. I like it. I like Dandelion and Burdock. I think they're very similar. I don't think they're exactly the same, but I think they're very similar. I quite like it. I don't know. I can't imagine putting ice cream in it. It's going to be good.
Do you have...
Well, doesn't it just melt and then you just end up with this, like, cream in your root beer?
No.
How do you have the ice cream then? How do you use a spoon?
Yes. Or straw.
A straw? You don't have straws in England. You think they have?
Yeah, you do. I was over there. They do.
That's why we got so many turtles here, because we don't have straws.
I'm done. I quit. I'm done.
Okay.
Bye.